Hello and a very good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Crafters TV. My name is Ben Moseby. Thank you for joining us. If you've been with us right throughout the course of the day already today, hopefully you've bagged yourself some bargains and you've enjoyed all of the fun. It's been a funny old day to come back to. There's lots of people here in very funny moods. I think it's because it's a Friday, but we are up for a laugh today, up for loads of crafty fun as well. 3 hours of the softer side of life. So if you love all things soft craft, then make sure you stay with us over the course of the next 3 hours. I'll be here with you for the first hour. The lovely Becky Redican will be here for the final two with our fantastic guest, who I'll introduce you to in just a second, with bearing in mind as well that National Quilting Day is coming up. It is National Craft Month as well, so there's plenty of reasons to have a look over at our website. Lots of great deals, and also on our website right now we've got 25% off our quilting starter bundle, which you might want to get your hands on. That deal is relevant and live up until the 9th of this month. But as I've said, it is not just me for the next hour. I'm not on my own. If you were watching earlier on, you'll have caught a sight of her and you'll know the reason why she is dressed the way she is. It is the lovely Becky Sworn. How are you, Queen of Soft Crafts?
Very well, thank you. Do you know, I can't even remember why I've got this crown on, but I don't care because I like it.
I think it was the whole conversation when we were talking about unicorns, and then you said, me and Craig are going to go open a unicorn farm.
That was it.
Then you said you could be the princess on the unicorn farm, and then you said you like wearing a crown, and then you said you were going to wear a crown, and Nicola said, oh, we got a crown in the office.
I remember now.
Yeah.
I mean, you just ask and you get in this kind of place, don't you? So yeah, that is why I'm wearing a crown. It's not my birthday. My birthday is the 20th of June, in case you need to know.
Write that one in your diaries, because you said it a few times now, as if you do need to know. But it's going to be a brilliant show because day before Craig and Debbie Fisher's. We've got brand new fabric coming up on the show for you, Macauer fabric. We've got the builder blocks of the week. We've got some really great deals, Save the Stitch deals coming up for you a little bit later on as well. But let's get cracking and have a look at the fabric that we've got. This has been going, all right, because we previewed this a little bit earlier on Wake Up Call, and as is always the case, whenever we get brand new fabric in, it flies out of the door. It's happening again today, so if you want to get your hands on it, you can buy it by the half metre, and that is the price on your screen right now. So $6.99 or $10.49. Platinum price $5.59 or $8.39. We're still, I'm going for Macauer. Or Macauer. Let us know how you say the name of this fabric. I think, it's obviously personal choice, but I'm going for Macauer. We've got loads. I don't know how to say that with a Geordie accent. Macauer, man. We've got loads of beautiful Macauer fabric for you. A quarter of the stock has gone right across all of the collections which we're going to bring to you, and I'll show you all of the different designs that you're going to get. Really gorgeous fabric. Tell us a little bit about Macauer fabric. It's really good. It's 100% cotton, isn't it?
100% cotton, really, really good quality. So it's going to wash well and iron well. And you've got kind of quite sort of vintage images on these. These kind of sort of large florals, which we haven't really brought to you lately. We had lots of sort of ditzy kind of images as well last time. But yeah, beautiful colours. And I was saying before, these colours and these patterns really remind me of the whole Bridgerton kind of vibe, these kind of sort of almost Regency kind of florals that you've got. So, you've got the new series of Bridgerton, which Ben's never seen. Crazy. But that's coming out later on this year, this month, I think. Yeah. So yeah, this is definitely that kind of vibe as far as I'm concerned. Really pretty colours. I'm just going to flash up the details as we go through these. So that was the large tulip on teal. So you had it on the pink before. So again, really lovely fabric, which is going to match perfectly if you're looking to kind of go for different designs, different colours. Yeah, never seen Bridgerton. Johnny, you gasp in the gallery as if you watch it. Oh, you see it. I just know it, as I said to Becky a little bit earlier on. My wife watches it and she says it's a bit Rudy-doody. It's quite Rudy-doody, so that's why I blush when things like that are on, so that's why I don't watch it. So yes, all of these brand new to us. A quarter of the stock has gone. So we're now on to the tulip on the pale. It's got I love the design on here. I love the colours. It's got a real kind of expensive kind of look to it, this fabric. It does. I think it's having that kind of cream, almost It's almost not quite a yellow ochre, but it's got that kind. It's sort of like a putty kind of colour.
Yeah.
That feels quite expensive, and I just think that the colours with those reds and the pinks together work really, really nicely.
And you can see as well, if I just show you the two previous colours that I've already shown you there, how they all work together absolutely beautifully. So if you're kind of mixing and matching across the range, then you've got a lovely, lovely selection to be able to do that. Right, next up, as I said, a quarter of the stock of all of these already gone. Next up is the outline, cream tulip outline. So again, keeping on that sort of theme. Love that, almost sort of sketch-like effect that you've got on this fabric, isn't it?
Yeah, and that works really well where you've got a mixture of all of those very heavily patterned fabrics.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be mixing and matching some of the sort of dark creams together as well, that's really pretty. And whilst it calls it tulip, you can see there's lots of other flowers in there. There's almost like peonies in there as well as the tulips, which make for a really sort of pretty kind of contrast between them.
So again, quarter of the stock gone there. Price on the screen is per half metre. That is your cream tulip outline. As we move along, I was just saying before the show, I always panic a little bit on fabric shows because when I one of the first ones I did, producer Erin always used to tell me off for being untidy, not putting the fabrics back. So I always try and fold them and keep it tidy now as we go. But I'm doing a grand job so far. I think you'll agree, right, guys? Thank you. Next up, a bit more sort of, I don't know how to describe it, it's maybe like a bit more of a ditzy print to this one,
Well,
rather than being big and bold.
Yeah, this is almost like a William Morris kind of feel to it.
Yes.
It's got those kind of colours and that all over pattern. Again, it's almost like this sort of kind of stylised tulip that you've got here, but very, very pretty. Once again, you know, all these fabrics are going to mix and match with each other. They're all going to work together. But yeah, very pretty colours in that one, lots of sort of salmons and tomatoes in those. It's all about food as far as I'm concerned, isn't it?
Just had pizza and cake out there as well. That is your grasses and silhouettes on the red. This one, now you'd be forgiven, the way that this has been printed, it looks like it's sort of been embroidered.
Yeah, it's almost like a brocade.
Yeah.
It looks very much like that, kind of the brocade that you traditionally sort of see on sort of seat covers, that kind of a feel to it. But yeah, it's very, very pretty with that kind of salmon colour in there as well, but that sort of putty kind of background.
Yeah.
So again, you know, works together with all of those other sort of heavy, larger florals that we've got.
So again, that one is at $6.99, $10.49. A quarter of the stock has gone. Moving swiftly on. More sort of autumnal colours that we've got here. Oh, hello. Which is your grasses on red.
Yeah, definitely autumnal with this one, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
it's sort of bonfires and corduroy trousers.
Oh, whatever happened to corduroy trousers?
I don't know.
I don't have any corduroy
You see,
trousers.
I could see you wearing mustard-coloured corduroy trousers.
I can almost see me wearing that as well. Because I obviously like the waistcoat vibe. On a weekend, I like a flat cap. Corduroy trousers is probably the next way to go, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Are they still on vogue?
I don't know if they ever were, but are they back in?
I never know whether Charlotte's winding me up or not. She's being serious. She just says that corduroy is big. What is that? What, big in the world of like the cool kids? Oh, corduroy shirts apparently are a big thing.
So I always think of schools. You know, school uniforms, corduroy would be the thing that I would think about.
Yeah.
This one that you've got now, this is the one that really shouted Bridgerton to me.
Grasses on green.
Yeah, that kind of colour is the kind of colour and the pattern that I'd expect to see all of the characters in Bridgerton wearing, but not together.
Back on your screen soon, folks. Again, $5.59 or $8.39 for that per half metre. Next up, we've got the tulips, or the ditzy tulips. As much as I like the big, bold tulips that we saw at the start, I do kind of like these ditzy prints. I think even more, something a little bit sort of subtle and more understated about them, maybe.
Yeah, you know, I could see you wearing a waistcoat in that.
You've got to stop saying about, you can see me with a shirt, you can see me with a waistcoat, because
I'm not saying shirts anymore, because I've decided if I've got to make something a waistcoat's a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah, waistcoat would be good. I'd love that. I'd love that. Would I go for this one? Probably, yeah, potentially. Yeah. Birthday's on April the 30th.
Okay, you're putting an order in?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right, I'll see what I can do.
Give you all my sizes and whatnot later on. And then you've also got the Dixie tulip just to finish up on the green, but then finally on the yellow again. A sort of Bridgerton feel to this one.
Yes, absolutely. You don't know what it is.
I have no.
That's got to be your homework this weekend, to watch a little bit of Bridgerton, so you're prepared. I think that's what I reckon.
Let me know in the comments if you watch Bridgerton and if it's worth watching. Let us know. $6.99 or $10.49 is the deal per half metre on all of those. Platinum prices there, and remember, a quarter of the stock has gone right across the range, so you will need to be swift. I know we were busy on these a little bit earlier on. Moving over to our builder blocks of the week. Now, 3 options available for you here, and do you know what? If you're wanting to kind of get into your soft craft, potentially if you're looking for a way to be able to, cut quicker with more precision, to get onto the fun stuff quicker, the builder blocks are exactly what you need in your life. What we will say, and we can chat about this with Becky as well, is if you are new to this and you're looking at it thinking, well, hang on, builder block expansion pack, does that necessarily mean that you have to have had the actual builder block sets, or these stand alone?
You can totally use them as standalone items, but the ones that we've got today, we've got squares, we've got 2 different types of triangles. And if you've never done quilting before, obviously the simplest thing you could possibly do is do squares. Yeah. So yeah, they absolutely can be used alone, but you can use them in conjunction with the other builder block. The main pack we've also had the Builder Block Plus, which has some other shapes in there. But of course, each week we've been bringing you a Builder Block of the week. So we've had all these other designer ones, so you can mix and match absolutely. But these are really good if you've, you're not sure, you're giving it a try, you just want to start simply. Picking up one of these would be a really good option. Look at your quilt in front of you there. Is that with the squares? Yeah, just squares. And
That's
how impressive
fab.
is that? That looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So very, very simple. So you can make something like this without having the headache of making sure that everything's being cut precisely, because you'll obviously be using the dies. But yeah, that looks really effective. Just some squares.
So that is the square expansion pack. So as I said, if you've got the builder blocks already, amazing. If you haven't, you can dive in and grab these and use these on their own. So that's $17.99 or $26.97 if you're platinum. And again, you've got the ability to make squares from 1.5 up to 4.5 inches. So those are the squares right there. Next up, your half square triangles. And again, I suppose with these collections, we're giving you the kind of shapes that you're going to be coming back to time and time again, shapes which are going to be so useful for you. And once again, you've got the 1.5 up to 4.5 inch half square triangles, which here, oh, I love the backing on this one as well. It's pretty, isn't it? Yeah. So this was used to create this, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So those are the very sort of traditional kind of shapes, just using those different triangles. But by using the different colours, you can make something look really quite modern, because obviously, quilting is a really old craft, and you would see sort of very traditional looking quilts, but that looks really modern with that grey and that cerise colour, doesn't it? Absolutely, yeah, I love that. Is it an easy thing to get into as well when you've got systems like this, like quilting? Yeah, it is. The hardest thing I found with quilting, or with any kind of patchwork, is cutting things out accurately. And I've said before, I'm a bit slapdash. I can't. It's terrible. My mum always says, "Oh, your seams aren't completely straight." They're not. And when I cut using a pair of scissors or using a rotary cutter, I'm not as accurate as I should be. And I really love the fact that I can just put these through my machine and then everything's cut out beautifully and everything matches up. And there's a real joy in putting something together. I'm like, oh, it all matches. I feel like I've accomplished something, even though secretly someone else has done it for me, because someone's put all the time and effort into putting these builder block systems in place in order for us to create these things with perfect detail. So yeah, it's definitely using these kind of items to create your first quilt will really make you accomplish something very quickly and much, much easier than you would be otherwise. $17.99 for the half square triangles, or $26.97. And then lastly in this collection, you have got your, on top, the quarter square triangles. Once again, 1.5 up to 4.5 inch quarter squares. and again, same price, $17.99 or $26.97. And you've got some of those finished samples in front of you there, Becky.
I have, yeah. So I've got a mixture here. So I've got the half square triangles and the quarter square triangles on this quilt. So you can see how that's come together. We're only using little, the odd bits of colour here and there. Most of this is white. But you can see how effective that looks. And that's just using two of those different shapes. But you could, of course, just use the quarter square triangles and then have another quarter square here, but just have all these in white and you'll still get that same effect.
Love it so much. Again, 25% saving for everybody, less another 20% if you're platinum. Just a quick question coming. So Rhonda just wants to know, are these the same sizes that are in the original Builder Block system and the Builder Block Plus? These are different again, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they will all match in.
Yeah.
If I tell you the largest square, for example, is 4.5 inches and the smallest one is 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
So if you do have the original Builder Block system, the whole idea is that they will all work together. They will all sort of match up within the same sort of system.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't categorically tell you what the measurements were for the other shapes on the Builder Block and the Builder Block Plus.
Okay.
But yeah, they should all match together.
Loads of you already in. There's loads of chat about the fabric. Angela's saying gorgeous, rich fabric colours. They're flying out the door. Audrey saying beautiful fabric. And good morning from Pennsylvania, says Bernie. Ben, great to have you back. Thank you. Nee says hello, hello Ben. Hello Nee. Hi and hello to our CTV rainmakers over there. Hello Becky, says Nee. And Angela says, I'm just home from a community luncheon where the other ladies at my table watched me finish the Threaders Crochet Rupert Rabbit. They all wanted to take him home with them.
Oh,
Aww.
I can't crochet. I'm always in awe of people that can crochet. I find it really difficult. I've not quite worked it out yet. But I know Joe can crochet, so I'm going to get him to show me.
Yeah, maybe have a little masterclass. And lots of people chatting about Bridgerton as well, saying, Marilyn saying, definitely watch Bridgerton, Ben. Yes, it's as randy as they say, but beyond entertaining and a must-watch. Sarah saying, yes, I've watched Bridgerton and worth watching for sure. Some nudie Rudy, but a great show. Well, you sold it to me. If you've got any questions over the course of the next few hours, get those in. Any more chat, we'd love to hear from you. But let's start having a look at these builder blocks with Becky and hopefully see how easy they are to use.
So they're very simple. So I'll show you, they keep popping out. So I'll just put those back in here. Now they're different to the other builder blocks that you've had before because you always get a little booklet included about how to use them. But they're very simple. They're done in exactly the same way. So these are our multimedia dies. So they're thicker and deeper than a normal papercraft die. And that enables you to cut through multiple layers of fabric.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that they all come in their little boxes and they come in their little places and put everything together and you know where they all are. I have a terrible problem with my papercraft dies that are in a box, and when I look for them I'm just going rushing around looking for them, and I love the fact that everything's sort of kept where it should be. I make it sound like my craft room is really tidy and it isn't, but my dies are. So you'll get the various different sizes in each one of these, and on the back of the little sort of paper slider that you get on the package, it will tell you what the different sizes of these shapes are. So you would put them through your die cutting machine in the same way that we've used them before. So you use your paper plates, your fabric plates.
You're thinking of your Bridgerton party over there, aren't you?
You use your fabric plates if you've got them for your Gemini, or you can, if you're using another machine or you don't have your fabric plates, you can layer your sandwich together in order for you to cut with the fabric. And you cut, but what you do need to bear in mind with not so much these shapes, but when you use other builder blocks, is having the fabric facing the correct way depending on where you want your how you want your shape to be facing. Okay. So these are okay, these are fine, but it's just something to bear in mind when you're putting things together. So the beauty of these is you can cut multiple layers of fabric. So what I've done is I've used some of the squares, and I've used some of the which ones are these? These are quarter square triangles. Yeah. So I've already cut my shapes out. And because if I take out a couple of these different shapes here and there, you'll see that these will all match up. So you've got to take into account you've got your 4.5, your half. quarter-inch seam allowance in here, but these will all work together. So I've already cut some squares using my die, and I've also cut some of my triangles using my die. But I'm going to mix and match different shapes, different squares and different triangles together to create one design. And I think that's the great thing about this. So it really gives you that freedom for you to sort of work out what you want to do and how you want to produce your designs. And that's the key thing with these, in that you have, because you've got something to cut everything accurately out for you,
yes,
it means you can start having fun by putting bits and pieces together. So what I've done is I've used some of our fabric that we've got on the show today. So we've used this one, which is almost like a kind of brocade. It's not a brocade, it is a printed fabric, but it looks like a brocade. And we've used some of the larger, large pink tulips.
So that's the buds on red and the tulip on pink, isn't
tulip
it?
on pink,
Yeah.
yep. And then we've used some of our plain fabrics as well here. So I think that's a coral, and that is one of the pinks. I can't remember, but it might come to me when I'm putting it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by deciding where I'm going to put my various bits and pieces like this. So I'm going to create a block like this with my triangles. Now you'll notice on your triangles, and this is the same with all of the shapes that have a sharp point or should have a sharp point in the builder block system, that you have this little edge that's just cut off, this side here. And that's when we put the quilts together, the shapes together, we would normally cut these little bits off once they're sewn together, because they're little bits of fabric you don't need, and they just create bulk when you're actually making your patchwork. But because you're cutting them with a die, we've already thought about that, and so we've just cut that a tiny little bit of fabric off it. So it just means we've taken another step away from when you're putting your fabric together.
So you get to the fun stuff quicker.
Exactly, exactly. So I'm going to start by putting these together. So I'm just making sure I've got them the right way round, because I've already done a few already. So
just to say as well, we've got lots of different colours of plain fabric on the Shop the Show page, so worth having a look, as we said, on our website as you go. There you'll also find that deal with the 25% off our quilting starter bundle, which is live until the 9th of this month. A few comments are coming through. Lots of Redican chat. Look what you've done now, Becky. Yes, 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 says Melanie D.
Was she on Bridgerton?
I don't know what you mean.
No, because it was such a good show.
Is that what it is? Yes, I cannot wait for the next season, says Melanie. Mary Pat says, woohoo, welcome back, Ben. Hope you had a wonderful vacation. I did, thank you. You were deeply missed. Get out of here. Thank you. And Sarah says, I'm loving the crown, Becky. Yes. Becky's new crown, which apparently she's going to be wearing when she goes back home on the train a little bit later on. So I've asked for a selfie picture.
And I also have to travel back on the tube through London as well on the way home. So that'll be entertaining on a Friday night, won't it?
To be honest, I bet there's funnier sights than a lady wearing a crown on the tube on a Friday night.
Yes, it's probably true. Although I'm not entirely sure my walk home from the station is going to be quite as exciting with me wearing a crown.
I think you work in it. I think it looks great. I think you really do pull it off, and I think it's something which you should look at adding into your wardrobe.
To be honest, I've forgotten I was wearing it.
Did you really?
Yeah. It just feels so right that I should be wearing a crown, clearly. So I've just sewn that one piece here, so I'm just going to finger press that there. So when I put my pieces of fabric together, I'm going to do that one there. So putting right sides together, I'm marking or just sort of lining up against the points, and you can see it perfectly matches. And even that little space just here, that little sort of sharp edge off the point, that perfectly matches up. So in theory, if I'm being accurate with my seam allowance, everything should perfectly match up.
Fingers crossed.
You never know, do you? Like I said, I'm a little bit slapdash when it comes to sewing. There we go. And then we're going to put, I'm just trimming, as I go, I'm trimming off my ends of my threads. I do try and do this as I go along, but I do sometimes get into a terrible muddle with so many of them. So again, finger press, and then I'm going to then stitch these two pieces together. So what I want to do is I want to take my centre seam, and I just want to make sure that when I stitch it, I've got my, where my seam is on the top layer, it's on the opposite side to the seam on the bottom layer, so it sort of, it nests in nicely, and it creates less of a lump.
Yes. Angela wants to know what foot you're using on the machine.
I'm using my favourite foot. I'm using my 1/4 inch foot. So if I show you the difference.
Yes.
So this is a foot that we do sell on the website. Your own machine might have it. If I take it off and then I can show you. So we've got, this is a normal foot that you've got on your machine. So you can have your stitch mark, your needle point, either in the middle or to the left or to the right. And you just need to, when you're using your machine, you just need to line up where your 1/4 inch seam allowance is against the fabric on your machine. Now, this is my 1/4 inch seam foot, so it looks slightly different, and it has a little blade effectively. It's not sharp like a blade, but like a piece of metal that runs down the side. So I would always have my needle positioning right in the centre of that hole, just there. And then you buff your fabric up to this edge here, and it keeps it at a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now, I find this really useful for me because I get distracted by Bridgerton being on the television when I'm sewing, maybe. Don't ever watch Bridgerton while you're starting to sew. It's not a good idea. But you know, sometimes things happen, and I get distracted, and I seem to stitch.
I'm definitely putting it on my TV when I get home later on now.
You've got to. I seem to sort of stitch slightly to the left.
Yeah.
So towards the end of something that I'm sewing, it's never totally straight, and this just means it just makes it a little bit easier. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make these things easier. We're trying to make cutting the fabric to the shapes that you want easier by using the builder block system.
Well, surely that's the thing, isn't it? Where if people perhaps have tried soft craft before, tried quilting, like the frustration is the initial part, isn't it? The initial part where you've got to cut the shapes and you've got to be very accurate with your measurements, because if your measurements are out, then it becomes very difficult and you give up quite quickly, right? Yeah,
absolutely. And I know Bernie, everyone obviously knows Bernie. Bernie really enjoyed the whole sort of measuring and making sure everything was super accurate. She really enjoyed that part of sewing and patchworking. And I know lots of people do, but I personally liked the fact that it's nice and quick. And I don't actually have to think too much about putting everything together. So I'm going to give that a quick press, just to make sure it's nice and flat. And then I'm going to stitch together the other shapes that I've made. So you can see how quickly that's coming together. And you can make all sorts of different things from these. You know, you're making a big quilt with some of those squares perhaps, and then using some of our applique animals. You could maybe make a quilt for somebody with that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is I've cut these are just plain white fabric that I've already cut out, and I'm going to attach these like so, and then a couple more like this. So you can see how that's all coming together. I'm going to stitch a couple more together and then I'll line it out. And I was going to make this into the beginnings of a table runner, which I thought would be quite nice with all these different fabrics. And they're quite, whilst we were saying some of the fabrics almost look sort of autumnal, and some of these colours are quite, are quite dark. I think adding them together with some brighter colours like these pinks and the whites makes it quite spring-like. Yeah. And I just thought that would work really well. So I'm going to...
I love the way as well by adding the block colour into the squares. It kind of helps to break up the patterns just a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because I think if people are a bit worried about what pattern goes with what, or if they're buying different styles of the fabric here, how it would all blend together quite nicely. I think having like block colours within your blocks is quite a nice way to break it up a bit.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And you do know, you don't need to, if you don't want to be, if you're scared of patterns, which often people are, using plain colours and then just finishing it off with different kinds of stitching when you're quilting could be, the way to go to introduce some colour. So you could use just maybe just white or maybe a pink shade, and then add some stitching with a variegated thread over the top when you're putting it all together, and that would look really spectacular. So there's lots of options, lots of things you can do to make it, the kind of thing that you really want. So let's put that one together here. And then I'm just building this up. So this has taken, it didn't take very long at all for me to cut all these and put them together because they're quite simple shapes. But I think, using, where we've got these big blank spaces, you could do some embroidery on here. Maybe you've got some pretty fabric, maybe some sort of old embroideries that you love. Sometimes people collect those kind of handkerchiefs and napkins and things. And whilst you like them, maybe they're stained all over, you can cut little pieces of those out and then make this into something quite unique. So there's lots of different options for what you can do. I'll sew this one here.
Do you get to do a lot of soft crafting for yourself when you're at home? Are you too busy doing stuff for us? No.
I had a plan a couple of years ago that I was going to...
I thought you were going to say I had a plan at the start of the year. No, I had a plan a couple of years ago.
No, a couple of years ago. I wasn't going to buy any clothes. I was going to make everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I stuck to it for 6 months. When I say I stuck to it, it meant I didn't buy any clothes. I didn't actually make any either, but I didn't buy anything.
Right.
And I had a long chat with a lady who sold patterns for underwear.
Right.
And she was like, oh, you can make your own underwear. And I was
Make
thinking,
your own pants?
yeah, I was thinking that's a little bit too far. I don't think I could be bothered with that. She said, no, it's very easy. It's very, very simple thing for you to do. But I never got round to actually doing that. But yeah, you can absolutely make your own underwear. So yeah, that's something that you could do. So I would just continue to put.
These would make a nice pair of pants, wouldn't they?
Exactly. Maybe that's what you do for people for Christmas. You make them underwear. I think if you get in the full flow of that, you could just make lots and lots of pieces, bits of underwear. But yeah, I've not done that.
Pants.
I've not done that. Yeah. So I would just continue to add all the different pieces of fabric on, and then once I'd done the strips. You then add the strips together and then you'll get this kind of design here. So I would just continue with this, either make it longer or make it wider like so. You can make a cushion cover like that here. There's all sorts of different things you can do, and then obviously you could quilt over the top of it. But it means that, I'm quite proud of the fact that everything's matching up. And I'm going to take the win. I can pretend it was all me, but actually it's not. It's definitely the fact that you're using the builder block system, and that's taken the guesswork out of it for you.
Such a great system. If you want to jump in and grab these, so remember the builder block expansion packs are readily usable on their own. If you've got various builder blocks already, obviously these are going to kind of expand it even more for you, but you've got those available for you in the squares, the half triangles and the quarter triangles as well, saving 25% off whichever one you go for. You might decide to go for all three, but think about these as time saving, think about these as well as precision and accuracy, and also think about these as kind of getting you to the good stuff quicker, right? So you want to get onto making those quilts, making those pants. It's only gonna get you there. It's only gonna get you there quicker. Sorry, producer Johnny is saying that apparently we used to sell a kit here where you could make your own pants.
Really?
And when you say pants, right, you mean pants as in UK pants, knickers, okay, as in underwear, because pants is obviously trousers in the US. Can you let us know, please, if you bought, what was it called? It was called the Makery.
I'm gonna when I go into the storeroom, I'm gonna have a look for some pants while I'm there amongst all the samples. I'll look for them. I've never seen them before.
Johnny, what pants have you got on today? Have you got some Makery pants on, have you? He's getting his... Charles has gone, oh, he's getting them out, he's getting them out, he's getting them out. Let's move on. 25% off the expansion packs, £17.99. I don't want to know. La 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 la. £26.97 if you're shopping with us in the US. And you are a... That's enough. He's getting his pants out. So let's move on swiftly. We're going to have a quick look at the fabrics. I'll whiz through these. I won't take as long as I did before because it'll be here forever. Right across the board. These are now 50% of the stock gone. What's happening is that everybody is jumping in and grabbing one of each. A ½ metre you can buy these in, so ½ metre lengths, of course. £5.59 or $8.39 is the deal if you're a platinum member. So you've got the large tulip on the pink. Next up on the green, that same gorgeous colour pattern. So that also 50% of the stock gone. That's on the green, $5.59 or $8.39. Sorry, is that the teal? Did I say green? Teal. Next up, you've got the tulip on the pale. And again, if I just hold these up, as I just quickly whiz through these, you can see again, if you are getting these for your quilts or whatever it might be, they all work absolutely beautifully together. The colours match, the patterns match as well. So that's why you're seeing 50% across the board gone on all of these. Next up, really like this one, you've got the cream outline. Again, with the tulips on there, with that beautiful foliage effect. And I think, as we were talking about just a few moments ago with the blocks that Becky was making, nice to have those kind of big, bold, striking designs on, but then nice to have kind of, whether it be your block colours or whether it be patterns like this, which are a little bit more stripped back to give you that kind of light and shade when it comes to your creations. 50% of the cream outline, that's gone there as well, $5.59 or $8.39. Then we come into the more sort of ditzy prints, if you like, really. I suppose not so bold as far as the design is concerned, but certainly the colour on this is gorgeous with the grasses and silhouette on the red. That is $5.59 or $8.39. Again, if you're a platinum member, remember that price is by the ½ metre. I think this next one is probably one of my faves, simply for the fact, you described this better than what I said. It looks like it's got like a sort of stitched embroidery. What did you say?
Brocade.
Brocade.
Yeah.
You'll see this even better when you get home and see it for yourself close up. It's a really, really cool effect that you've got on the buds on the red. Again, half the stock has gone there. Next up, the grasses on the red. This again, lovely. This is, again, you can use this year round, but I think that's got a real lovely sort of autumnal feel to it. Love the colours of the browns and the oranges and that beautiful yellow in there as well. $5.59 or $8.39. Again, 50% of the stock has gone there. And then we move into the grasses, the Bridgerton range. Is that what he's called, or is that's where it's set? On the show. Why is it called Bridgerton? Oh, he's Lord Bridgerton,
it's the main character, yeah.
This is what they're all wearing in that show.
Well, not exactly. But
not exactly. No, not exactly.
But it reminded me.
Yes.
Yeah. If you'd watched it, you'd know what I meant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to watch it tonight.
Excellent.
Grasses on green, and then you've got your ditzy tulips also, all 50% off. So your ditzy tulips on the, on the green. Wrong way round. And then we've got them on the yellow for you as well. So all of these, $6.99 or $10.49 by the ½ metre, but go quickly because these will disappear. I'm pretty much sure of that by the end of the show. Remember, we're here for 3 hours, the show through until 5 o'clock here in the UK. Next up, multi-rulers. You buy two, you get one free. I said you buy two,
you get one free.
Absolutely you do. And again, so you've got your tri-square, your tri-hex and your log cabin. These again are all about making your life easier, aren't they? If you're doing your cutting with like a rotary cutter,
yeah,
right?
So if you don't want to use a die cutting machine or you don't have one, these are a really good alternative.
Yeah.
Because you can buy templates and we've got some of the mini templates on the show later on, but these will allow you to cut all these various shapes using these rulers and different sizes as well. So they are really useful. And then that one for the log cabin, I love a log cabin. quilt. I like to be on holiday in a log cabin.
In a log cabin, making a log cabin.
Yes, maybe.
Yes.
But it does make everything a lot easier. And you're right, that is exactly what we want to do. We want to try and make things as simple as possible for you so you can get to making something really beautiful.
So you've got your tri-square, which will make your, obviously your squares, your half-square triangles, and then your quarter-square triangles as well. Then you've got your log cabin once again, and really handy. It's all done for you here. It makes it nice and easy for you to know where you're going to be cutting, how you're going to be piecing the different sizes together, and you've got step-by-step video tutorials online as well, so make sure you do check those out. And then on top of that, we've got your tri-hex multi-ruler. That one allows you to do your hexagons, your equilateral triangles, and your 60-degree diamonds as well. Really great deal, as we said on that one, because you're buying 2 and you're getting the third one for free. £31.98 platinum, or $36.72 if you're shopping with us in the US. Right, next work, Patchwork dies. What's wrong with me today? Your multimedia dies. So all of these, saving 25% on all of these. 5 of them available. I'll tell you what, let me give you all of the details, and then we'll have a look at these with Becky. So your 45-degree diamond die, 8 elements in total there, so the different sizes, £23.99 or $33.71 is the deal on this one. You've then got the halves, again, all with a 25% saving. It's £23.99 or $26.97. 8 dies in total that you're going to get there. Next up, always love this shape when it comes to your quilting, the clamshells. You've got the half clamshells there, 7 dies in total for £20.99 or $23.97. You've then got your half equilateral triangles too, so 8 dies in total there. Again, just £11.99 or $13.77, saving a quarter. And lastly is your half 60-degree diamonds. Again, a quarter saving on that one, £20.99 or $23.97. Great deal on all of those. That one actually a half price deal, even better. Is that right? That's not right. Is it? 35. Yeah. Not half price, but it's still a good deal. Jump in and grab it. We're going to go back to the multi-rulers and see how easy these are to use. So creating all these different shapes. Do you need like a special type of rotary cutter, or just...
No, I mean, I would say if you've got a rotary cutter that you use for paper, don't use it. Keep one for your fabric. But if you've got the quilting pack that we've got at the moment, which has got the mats and the rotary cutter in it and the ruler, that's perfect. I tend to use smaller rotary cutters rather than the larger ones. I just find it a little bit easier. Yeah. Now, all I would say is when you're using a rotary cutter, to have your table down a little bit lower than it is here. So this is a little bit high for me. When you're using a rotary cutter, you want a little bit of, you want to be over the table in order to cut, to get it a nice smooth action. But otherwise, yeah, absolutely, it's not a problem. So what I thought I'd show you is a few of the samples of things that you can make with these rulers. So this is one of my favourite ones. You know, I said I love the log cabin, but that's a log cabin but made to look like a heart. Isn't that so clever? So that is a really, really interesting way of doing it. If I hold it across here, that's really you can see how that's been put together. So you've got different sizes of your different sides of your log cabin. One sort of darker and one lighter, and just how they've been put together. It almost looks like a digital design, yeah, do you know what I mean? It does, and it's really clever because log cabins are a very sort of traditional kind of quilting pattern, and this just makes it modern and quite exciting. So you can make all sorts of different things with that. So that's the log cabin one. Then we've got the, this is from the tri-hex one, so the the hexagonal ones. So you can see here we've done some different shapes. So this is a little bag that we've made here, and then little tiny pincushion. So it's just using the same ruler but cutting different sizes of these hexagons to create this. So it's a really useful tool for you to have. And then this is the final one, which is the can never remember which one this one's called.
Tri-square.
Tri-square. So you've got different kinds of diamonds here and triangles that have been produced on here. So you can create something that looks like this out of all of those different shapes that you're able to do just with one ruler.
Yeah.
So if I show you exactly what you're going to be getting in each one. So this, first of all, if I move my board out the way, you can actually see here. So you'll get your little booklet, your little leaf, what's it called? Envelope. And it'll show you on the front the kinds of things you can make and what kind of sizes you can do as well. But you'll also have your ruler, and you'll have your little your guide. And it shows you exactly how to put it together. So what I would suggest is that you give it a good read through first of all before you start cutting. I get really excited and I just start having a go and then realise I've cut everything the wrong way. But when you cut, first of all you start off with strips, and you want your strips to be 1/2 inch bigger than your finished piece, your finished shape, because you want that to take into account the seam allowance. Because we're not using dies here, and the seam allowances aren't sort of taken into consideration. So you need to sort of think about that beforehand when you're cutting your strips. And it will show you how to lay everything out. So for example, if you're going to be using the square, you'll see here all your details about how you're going to be cutting and where you're going to be laying out your lines are all written here. So you've got your 1/4 square triangle, your 1/2 square triangle, and your square here. And you just need to follow the directions. So if I show you, for an example, so I'm going to pop it onto my, my mat, and I've already cut a strip, which is, put my mat round the right way. So my strip is 2.5 inches wide. So I know if I'm going to be doing using a strip that's 2.5 inches wide, I want to use the 2-inch shapes.
Yes.
So I'm going to first of all look for, I'm going to go for a square first of all, because that makes it simpler. So I put my fabric here. Now, if you've got a rotating mat, that's quite useful, but what actually I found is really good. These mats are small enough for you to be able to turn everything around on this mat, because they're quite tiny.
Yeah.
Even if I'm using a much bigger mat, I put the smaller one on top and I use that to rotate around, because what we want to do first of all is we want to make sure our fabric's nice and straight. So we're just going to put our fabric here, and then I'm going to use this little piece over here, and I'm just going to make sure I can trim that little edge off here so that edge is nice and straight, like that. Let's get rid of that. And then I'm going to look for my 2-inch shape, but I'm going to be using this dotted line here, because that indicates my seam allowance on here. So I'm going to I need to flip it over because I'm right-handed. So I can see that that's all matching up here, but I'm going to flip this around this way and not move my fabric. And then I'm going to put my square just here, line up against that dotted line, and then cut using my rotary cutter. And there I've got a perfect square to start putting everything together. So that's how you would do it, and that's how you would do that with all of those different shapes. So if I wanted to do one of the triangles, for example, I would again move everything around so I can get to where my shapes are, right round the right way.
Is it a question then? So obviously we've got our our builder blocks where you can cut all of these different shapes. We've got the multi-rulers as well. Is it kind of like sort of horses for courses when it comes to doing your shapes, or is it good to have a selection of the rulers and the builder blocks?
I think it's a little bit of a mixture, because this is quite there is some kind of therapeuticness, I suppose, in putting this together, that you can spend your time lining everything up, and having something like this as well. You can you're sort of seeing how you're putting everything together. Well, I suppose putting it through your die cutting machine, it's just running through and it's making it nice and quick. Obviously, with your die cutting machine, it does also mean that I always find it quite easy if I want to, using a pattern and I want to make sure that my particular flower or something is centered within that shape, I find using the die cutting machine easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think most people have a mixture of different things. You might not have absolutely every single builder block and every single ruler that we do, but you probably have a little mixture of different things. These ones are particularly useful for all sorts of different shapes, but you may find that with the more complicated shapes like the hexagons, you think, I don't need a ruler for that, I'd rather use a die cutting machine. So it's entirely up to you. I think people have a mixture.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just get that in the right place there. Oh, no, it's not right. Hold on.
Terry Tom Anderson just said, I'm sure wish I would have had multimedia dies 5 years ago when I made a queen size bedspread. Sure would have saved a ton of time cutting out all of those squares.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? That's what makes a difference,
yeah.
The speed. So there you've got a triangle here. So all of these multi-rulers work in exactly the same way. If I show you what I'm going to do with the log cabin, and then I've got a little project to make an item for Mother's Day using the final ruler. So if I show you the log cabin first of all.
That's 26th of March, isn't it? 25th of March. End of March.
Sounds about right.
Sometime in March. 27th of March.
All I know is it's around about the time where you get lots of daffodils.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. I always like daffodils for Mother's Day.
27th of March, did you say? That's the day after my mum's birthday.
Oh.
Birthday. Oh, combine it into one, Charlotte, did you say? That'd be a bit mean, wouldn't it? That would be a bit
It's
mean.
like people have their birthday at Christmas, isn't it? I always feel a bit sorry for them.
Yeah.
So if I show you the log cabin, so it works in exactly the same way that you've got your ruler and then you've got your diagram and your details.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the log cabin is a little bit, it takes a little bit of time to plan because you want to think about how your colours match. So if I show you first of all here, it talks about cutting strips. So you can use different size strips to create different size blocks, but all the information is written up here. And it will show you how many of each size strip you need to cut, because that's effectively what a log cabin is. It starts with a square in the middle, and then it just has different size rectangles that go around the outside to create that design. So it shows you exactly what you're going to be having here. Now in your little booklet, it will show you a different sort of colourway. So this makes it nice and simple for you to work out how your design is going to work, whether you're going to be using patterned fabrics or different shades of one colour, because it will tell you how many of each of the strips, whether it's strip B or strip D, how many of each of those you would need to produce.
Yeah.
And then further down into the booklet, it shows you how to build up your log cabins. You can see here, you start with a square and you're just building these little rectangles that go all the way around the outside to create that design. But included on there are also some other designs for other log cabins. So these are, this is just something you can make from this ruler.
Yeah.
And these are all, effectively the same thing. They're strips and squares.
Such cool designs.
But they look so different, don't they, to that main one that we've got. So this is I think this is a really great tool. And if I was going to be getting any of these, I'd be getting this one and one more, and then I'd get the other one for free. So why would you not?
Well, exactly right. And also looking at some of those patterns there, jumping in and grabbing some of the fabric, particularly like the plain coloured fabric, to create some really, really beautiful colour combinations as well.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is I've already cut my square. So my square here is my centre square. So it's for a 10 and a 12-inch block. So I've already cut that one out. And I've already cut my strips here as well. So if there we go. Those are the ones that I want. So here are my strips of my fabric. So they've already been cut to the right shape, right size.
Yeah.
So if I show you these ones here, so what I did was I got my strip of fabric, and then I cut, I laid my strip of fabric underneath, and I laid up my block here until it got to the right size. Sorry, it would be done this way, until it got to the right size, and then I trimmed it. So I cut all these relevant pieces together, and so then I put them all by size, and to work out how I'm going to put them together and build them up. So it's simple to do. It just takes a little bit of planning. So if I start with my square in the middle, and then I'm going to start by building these things around the outside. So, like so. And you just start putting your fabrics together like this, and you keep building up with your different shapes. So if I start off by sewing these couple ones together, and then I can show you how it looks once I've sort of got halfway through. So you just need to use your 1/4 inch seam allowance on these. And once again, you know, this would be quite a good thing to do if you've got a strip fabrics. So we've got, just grab my strip here. So these are our threaders strip here. Yeah. And these are 2.5 inches of a strip. So they need trimming down, but you've got all those different colours in there. So that would be a really good way of creating one of these quilts in those sort of dark colours down one side and lighter colours down another, the way we've done with that heart-shaped quilt before. But these would be a great option because you've got all those different colours in there. Or you could mix and match. We've got a nice green one that would mix and match really well with some of the floral fabrics we've got on today. So I'll start by sewing everything together. Yeah, so we'll see those in more detail a little bit later on, actually, all the strip rolls. If you go on the shop to show, you'll be able to see those and indeed all of the other goodies that we've got. And just bearing in mind as well, the multi-rulers, which Becky's using right now, you get all three within the collection, so you don't have to buy two and then put the third one in your basket. If you go for this deal, you get all three. So the tri-hex, the log cabin, which we're using, and that tri-square, you basically buy two, you get the third one for free, and that is your platinum price today. Bottom of your screen, $31.98 or $36.72 if you're shopping with us in the US. And also worth bearing in mind, if you are not yet within Club Inspire, first of all, why not? And secondly, make sure you join up. If you're buying anything off this show as a first-time buyer, then make sure you join up in the club, and you'll get 20% off your first purchase, and then get to enjoy all of the other benefits of joining our club, which, by the way, is a free club as well, which is quite nice. Don't hear that so often, do you? No, everyone likes something for free, don't they? Oh, of course you do. And also the great thing about it when you're in our club, you see, is you get your discounts, and you can use your discounts on top of other discounts. And sometimes you've had days where you've had your discount on top of another discount on top of a code as well. So plenty of reasons. You're always saving with us here at Crafters TV. Look at the time! Oh. I'm going home. No, I mean, I'm not going home. You're not going home yet? Not going home. I'm going out there to do some stuff, more work. You're not going on holiday? What? You're not going on holiday now? No, I could do with a holiday day, to be honest. I've not had a long one, have I? So you can see how that's starting to build up. So I'm going to put a couple more on so you can see how that looks. Okay. And this is, I found this, making a log cabin is really therapeutic. I really enjoyed it. And I think there's so many different options you could do with these. And that's the difference as well, I think, isn't it? I think you touched on this earlier when you're chatting about Bernie, is that as much as the builder blocks are great for that time-saving, precision, and getting into sort of the nuts and bolts in it quite quickly, there will be a lot of people out there who enjoy this part of things and enjoy, creating their own, sizes of fabric and doing the manual cutting. So, yeah, whichever you prefer, we have got something for you on the show today. Absolutely. So you can see how that's starting to build up. So here's one I did earlier. Hey! So you can see now that, I mean, that is all it is. It's just a square in the middle and then these rectangles going around the edge. So I can continue to work on it by using some more of my fabric until it's completely finished. That would be that one to go here, then that one should go over here like that, and then that one going here. So I'm going to carry on putting those together, but you can see how that will look. Now, I've used 2 of our new fabrics because I wanted to use them, but you could use all sorts of different things. And I'm a big fan of using just one colour, maybe just using white, or you could just get some white fabric that's got that kind of different kind of design. You might have one with stars on, one with spots and that kind of thing, and that would look really effective because it almost looks like a different kind of colour, a different kind of pattern and sort of shading on it. So you could use it for all different things, and this is quite good for your scraps. If you've got a few bits of scraps hanging around, so this is worth while doing.
If you're loving that fabric as well, by the way, don't forget that fabric is flying out of the door. Over half of the stock has gone, I think, now across the board. You've got your beautiful tulips there, of course, and your grasses, but we'll recap on all of it. But get that sooner rather than later, as I say, because the fabric, I am pretty sure, will go before the end of the show. £31.98 or $36.72 is the deal on those multi-rulers. So grab them. As we said, works out that you're getting all 3, but you buy 2 and you get the 3rd one thrown in there for free as well, which is such a good way to go. Lots more on the show as well. As I say, Becky will be here very, very shortly indeed to bring you even more deals. She came, I don't know where she's gone. She came in and then she ran off. Oh, her batteries run out. Not even started. The batteries run out.
I think she looked in, saw what was going on and ran away.
And I think that's what it was. I think she saw your crown.
Yeah, maybe that was it.
I can't compete with that.
No.
I'm done and dusted.
Who can blame her? Who can compete? There you go.
Right, how are you getting on?
Yeah, almost there. I've got 2 more to do and then that block is finished. So you could then use that as sort of centerpiece in one bigger quilt, use it as a cushion cover, all sorts of different options for you. So I will...
Well, I'm going now.
Oh, it's nice to see you.
Nice
Get out of here!
You all right?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm not too bad.
What's your favourite fabric?
What's your favourite fabric?
This one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the teal.
Look, I actually...
Go on.
Well, I like the ditzy ones more.
Ah.
And Becky promised, you heard it here first, she's going to make me a waistcoat out of this one.
I did not.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. Did you agree to that?
No.
Did you?
She
You
did.
know what it's like. You know what he's like.
Yeah.
And the shirt out
Yeah.
of this one.
Yeah. What about these as a nice true?
A nice little true.
Yeah.
Yep. And she's also going to make, because Johnny is very, very keen on this, out of this fabric here, she's going to make Johnny a new pair of pants.
Lovely. What, undies?
Yep. Because he wants a new pair of undies.
Delicious.
Yeah.
I wish I'd used any other word then, but I
Me
didn't.
too. And on that note...
See you in an hour.
What?
Oh. Oh, yeah.
I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not coming back.
Oh,
What are you about?
have a nice afternoon.
What are you talking about?
Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice evening.
And bye. Oh, can I just
Bye.
get... you carry on. I'm just going to get
Pardon?
my stuff from down here whilst you talk.
Why, what you getting?
What?
That is the biggest water bottle I've ever in my life seen. Blimey! Bigger
I
than...
thought it was I thought it was for filling up with fuel. You know, your car broken down.
Well, like a petrol canister.
Yeah, maybe.
Jerry can. No,
A
it's
jerry
not.
can.
It's
No,
not that. It's my fuel.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Have a nice one.
Yeah.
We're just going to finish off this demo now.
Do the log cabin with the rulers.
I know, I've been watching.
Have you?
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah. Adios, amigos.
Bye.
Hello, nice to see you. My name is Becky, and should we carry on from one Becky to another Becky?
Yeah.
Hi, Becky.
Hello, how are you? You well?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Becky.
Good.
What are you whipping up for us? How's the demo going?
It's done.
Love
I've
it.
done it now, perfectly
Brilliant.
timed. So I've now made that block. So that is the total of the 12-inch log cabin. So obviously you could put multiples of those together to make more of a quilt, but you can see how that looks with all of those fabrics. And that's the log cabin multi-ruler.
I think that is just phenomenal. Thank you so much for that. It is a buy two, get one for free deal for you today. So just as a little reminder, you've got your multi-ruler collection, and these are the ones that we are looking for. Do not forget as well that obviously you've got that fabulous demo that you can you know, like the video, and you can save this video if you wanted to watch that back. But also they do come with really handy instructions as well. So just to remind you, you're getting all of these ones for the price of just 2 of them. So do feel free to treat yourself today if Becky has inspired you. Let's have another nosy-roo at the fabric, shall we? Because if you have just tuned in, oh, they're gorgeous. When I came in this morning, there was a couple that spoke to me, and they really are wonderful. Let me run through them, if I may. I'm going to start off with your tulips. Now, these tulips to me are like the really vintage tulips. I adore the beauty of these. They're really wonderful in their colours, aren't they? They've almost got like a poppy feel about them, actually. You know, when you get really rustic poppies as well. Very pretty. This one is the Tulip on Pink. That one's been really nice and popular. Although it says pink, I actually would say that's more of a nude colour. So, you know, if you're someone who's like, oh, I don't really like pink as a colour, actually, this has got more of a nude feel to it, almost apricot in areas. So it's a little bit more subtle than you might expect. I've also got for you the teal. This is your Tulip on Teal. Now, this one, as I've just said to lovely Ben, is my absolute favourite. Let me just roll a larger section of it out for you to give you an idea of that pattern. Oh, it is stunning. I love that with this, you've almost got those blooms, those bouquets of flowers. It's not that they're all kind of separate. They're all very much like kind of organised and in together. I think it's absolutely stunning. So if you do fancy that one, it's the most popular, which means that most of you have bought it, which means it's the lowest in stock. I've got 70% gone on that one right now. Let's go for your final of this tulip style. And this time it is on pale. Lovely colouring again on this one, very, very gentle indeed. For me, this is definitely for someone who perhaps is a little bit worried about too much colour. They want something a little bit more natural. This is definitely the one for you. I think this is the type that anyone can get on board with, really. Speaking of which, let's talk about the one that Ben wants a shirt out of, shall we? And this one here is the outline design. And if I just show you it in a slightly larger area, you can see that what we've done here is we've very much gone with the tonality within this. So we're kind of sitting in the same area on the colour wheel, but tonally we're changing it, we're shifting it. So you've got that really gentle nude colour in the background, and then each of these flowers is just a shade or two lighter, which makes it really, really subtle. And I think for this one, it's a bit like, you know, when you move house or you're trying to sell your house and the estate agents come over and say, paint all of your walls like cream or like simple because, you know, it sells better. That's kind of how I feel about this. I feel like nobody can't like this, if that makes sense. It's really pretty and, yeah, a lovely one, that. Let's move on now, if I may, to your deep, intense red. Now, this is the silhouette on red. And this one, if I show you, lots and lots of intricacy and detail to it. But if I just fold it out a bit further, you can see that there is a definite pattern to this. There's a definite direction. So if you like your designs to have a specific direction, if you like working with stripes and spots, etc., this is the one for you because you can see that's nicely organised. So if you're the type of person who, you know, relishes when you're making your quilts or you're following your patterns, everything being lined up beautifully, this is the one for you. $6.99 or $10.49, and that's for ½ metre, of course, unless you're platinum or it's your first day of ordering, then you also get that fantastic deal. Now I want to bring to you the buds on red. This, I think, although it says buds, to me personally, these have got a little bit more of like a wheaty feel to them, like yeah, like wheat and chaff sort of thing. Really wonderful, blowing in the breeze. You've got some of them that have got the red tone to them. It's really intricate pattern, this one, which I think is lovely if you do like those sort of ditzy prints. That one's definitely very, very full, if you will. Let's go on now to the grasses on red. Now, this, for me, has got, is this just me? If you were to describe this as an era, Becky, what era would you say this reminds you of?
Oh, I'm almost say it's almost Victorian, personally, because it's dark.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of gothic feel. But actually, if you put that with some creams and you make it look quite modern, because we were saying before, it was almost sort of a autumnal kind of colourway. But putting it with those creams, not with white, definitely needs to have a creamy sort of putty colour to go with it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would say because it's quite dark, I'd say sort of Victorian.
Yeah, I
say?
can completely agree with you that, because that's what I was kind of going to say, that for me this feels so vintage. It's almost like pre-vintage, if that is sensical. I think that's lovely, really pretty one, and as you say, great for autumn. Next up, I've got your grasses on green. I love this shade of green. Green's a really interesting colour. Because green is actually the colour that the eye picks up more than any other colour, okay? So what I mean by that is that your human eye can see more variation in the shade of green than any other colour. That's actually one of the reasons that night vision cameras, you know when you always see that green tint, it used to be because of the technology, they could only get it in green, but actually nowadays they can make it any colour they want, but they choose to keep it green because your eye picks up more green hues, so you can see it clearer even though it's night vision. And for me, when you've got green on green on green, it really adds interest, much more than, like, you know, sometimes if you get a load of different shades of blue, it can clash a little bit. With greens, because of your human eye, it doesn't happen as much. So the fact that this is, for all intensive purposes, got 4 shades of green on it, it still works beautifully. And I think there's a boldness in that I really, really appreciate. This is also one of my favourites. Let's stick with green, but this time we're going to go for the Ditsy Tulip on green. This one's so pretty. You've got the floral that changes direction. So because it changes direction with where the stem of it is, it almost looks like they're kind of diamonding around the fauna, which I really like. I think that's kind of pretty. And last but by no means least, it's the same, but a variation in colour. It's your Ditsy Tulip on the sort of lighter hue there. So I love those two together on the yellow. I think they go really nicely together. And if you did want to do sort of a patchwork with it, that could look really, really cool, couldn't it? So pick your favourites, pick your pairings. Don't forget that I am here for you to be your eyes and your ears. But if you do want to see any of them together, if you're going, oh, Bex, I wish you'd show that one and that one together, drop us a message on socials and I'll try and do that for you. I just wanted to remind you that we have got our fabulous multi-rulers for you here. It's a buy 2, you get 1 free kind of deal. And they are for anyone to get involved with. Even if you're brand spanking new and you're just getting into fabric, you are going to be able to work with these. Again, 3 of them, 1, 2 and 3, all come with your instructions, all really versatile, really easily colour coded for you to follow, and as per usual, an absolute bargain and a half. $39.96 or $45.90. That's a saving of nearly £20. Should we head on over to Becky? Becky, what are we making next?
I'm going to be using one of the rulers. So I'm using the tri-hex ruler at the moment. So I'm going to be making some little hexagons, because I think hexagons are quite a tricky shape to make, and this does make it a lot easier. So at the moment I'm just using my strip of fabric, which I've pre-cut. So again, you cut your fabric to ½ an inch bigger than you want your finished item to be, and I've just put it on the work surface so you can actually see. Before I'm actually going to put it on the mat when I use it. So this is what your ruler will look like. So you've got these hexagon shapes here, and you do it in exactly the same way as we did before with the shape. So we are just going to pop onto our strip of fabric. We're going to find where the hexagon is. So I'm using the 2½ inch shape, which you can probably just see this sort of dotted line that goes around here. So I've lined up the top and the bottom here, and I've made sure that this point here is still included on that fabric. And so I would use my rotary cutter to cut around the edge here. So I'll pop it on my board so I can actually cut it, because otherwise if I cut the work surface I'm going to be in so much trouble. No one will ever invite me back again. So I'm going to line that all up. And I'm using my small rotary cutter because I just find it a little bit easier when I'm working up higher like I am here. So I'm cutting those 2 pieces here, and then I will then just turn my board around, and I'll lift up my ruler and I will place it back onto the shape like so. So I'm just lining up the top and the bottom here, also lining up that point, and then I can cut across like so, like that, and then you've got your hexagon. And so that's all you would need to do. Now, when you're putting hexagons together, you need to use a Y seam. So Y seams are a way of making, you're putting everything together for it to fit. So you won't be able to, when you're stitching these together, you can't just sort of stitch all the way across. You've got to leave a little bit of a gap at each point where you're putting your hexagons together. So the way we do this is we take our pen and we're going to mark 1/4 inch just from each side here. So I'm going to use my foldable ruler here, like that. So I'm going to just mark 1/4 inch along this shape here. Just make a little point here with my heat erasable pen, and one here. And so I've just got a little point where I can mark where I'm going to start and stop sewing. So when I put my hexagons together, I'm going to stitch from here, finish here, and then that means when I start stitching the other hexagon to here, I've got this, what we effectively call a Y seam. So it shapes like that. So I'll show you what I mean by putting them together. So I've got a few other hexagons I've done here already, and I haven't marked anything on any of these. So I'll just use these ones because you can probably see a little bit better if I use the plain coloured ones. So using my ruler, going to mark 1/4 inch at each little point here. So when we've got the little what they called patchwork templates later on today, and you'll see when we use those, they've actually got a little hole in them for you to put the mark in. So when you are using something like this and you need a Y seam, again we've tried to make it easier for you to put them together. So we've got these little marks here. I'll do a couple on this one as well, and then when I stitch it together you can see what I mean. Just there, and across here as well. Okay, so hopefully you can just see those little dots here. So if I put my hexagons together, so I'm going to put them right sides together, like so. And I'm going to stitch along this line here first of all, and then I will open it up, and then I'll put another hexagon to go round here. So I'm using my 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm just dropping my sewing machine in where I can see that little black mark that I've made with my heat erasable pens. And I will stop where I get to that little point. So you can see here I've started and I've ended my stitching there. So I'm going to fold out my hexagon, and you can see just here we've not stitched all the way across. So this is a way that we're going to be putting your hexagon together, and everything's going to match in. Should be perfectly, but you never know with these things. Let's hope so. So if I put my hexagon here, right sides together, just like so, and then I put a pin in this one now. So again, I'm going to stitch from this point here, this little black mark here, down to this point here. So that should work.
For anyone who's new, are you going forward and backwards when you start off sewing at this bit?
I do when I remember.
Right, okay.
You should do. You should do. Yeah. Sometimes I forget.
What do they call it? I've forgotten the word for it. Like say,
like a fixing stitch.
Fixed stitch.
Something like that.
That's the
So
one, yeah.
We've stitched those pieces together, and then we're just going to fold this together now, and then I'm going to stitch to that point again. I'm just going to mark that. I'm going to do it by eye. And stitch across through there. And then you should be ironing in between as well. You know, pressing is really important. But again, I've not done that. I've just pressed them down with my fingers. But you should do that, particularly when you're just trying to get everything to match up nicely. So you can see how that will start to build together, and that is by doing these Y seams. So this is the Y is what we talk about. So it's done, you might have other shapes that you would use these for. So all you've got to do is make little points, little marks, 1/4 of an inch at each of these corners, so you know where just to start and stop your sewing. Because if you carried on sewing across here, you would then find you couldn't open up that seam to put the next hexagon in, and it would make everything sort of slightly out of kilter. So that's effectively what you do. So I've already put some of these together, and what I thought I would make is a tea cosy, because it's coming up for Mother's Day, and I love tea. If I have to choose my favourite drink, it's always tea.
How do you take your tea?
Strong.
Yeah.
I like Yorkshire tea.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Strong with milk. That's
Right,
it.
lovely.
But in the biggest mug, almost like a mixing bowl. You know, really, that's how I want my tea.
Yeah.
The biggest bowl you can or biggest mug you can possibly find. So what I've already done is I've cut a shape out of effectively like a little, to make it like a tea cosy, out of some of the fabric that we've got today. So I've already cut that and I've stitched that around. So this is going to make my lining of my tea cosy.
Okay.
So I thought this fabric was really pretty, and I thought that worked well with those sort of darker reds. And I thought my mum will be watching this, so happy Mother's Day, Mum. This is what you're going to be getting once I've finished it. My mum always watches.
Oh.
She always watches. So she always
lovely.
watches and then critiques my work. I wouldn't have done it quite like that, but that's what you do.
I love
So what
that.
I've done here is, this is for the outside of my tea cosy. So I've taken my fabric and I've taken some wadding, and I've used some of our spray to adhere the fabric to the wadding. And then I've just quilted this really, really simply, just with straight lines. Now the way I did this was, I did it very simply and very quickly. You can often get a little attachment that goes onto your sewing machine with like a little bar that comes out of where your sort of foot is, and that acts as a guide for you doing your stitching when you're doing kind of quilting like this. But I didn't put that on my machine. All I did was I used my heat erasable pens. I found a point, a line. I drew one line across on my fabric, and then I just cut all the rest. I just drew all the rest of the lines in my heat erasable pens, and then I ran it through my sewing machine. But I started off with a square or a rectangle piece, and after I stitched all of this quilting onto here, I then cut the shape out, and I just cut that out of a piece of paper. So very, very simple. But for the front of the tea cosy, what I've used is the hexagons that I've already produced. And I've just folded over the edges of these, and I've stitched around the outside just to secure them. Again, I spray and adhered them to here, but I've also put some stitching around the outside. So it's a nice and simple thing to do. Okay. So I'm going to put everything together now. So I'm going to start off by putting the main body of the tea cosy right sides together. You get a better idea of how I've quilted this on the back. But again, it's very, very simple and easy to do. And I'm going to use some of my clips, if I can find where I've put them when I was tidying up. The other thing I'm going to do is I've made a little strip of fabric which I folded over. So I'm just going to stitch that together, and I'm going to use that as a little loop that goes at the top of my tea cosy. So just going to attach that into there. So I'll stitch that along.
Quick question, why do we have tea cozies but not coffee cozies?
I've got no idea. I suppose because tea needs to stew and to brew, doesn't it? So you need to keep it warm while the tea is infusing in the water. You don't really do that with coffee, do you?
What about cafetiere?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone knows the answer.
Maybe. Do feel free to let us know if you yourself have, for example, a cafetiere cozy. Also, do they have tea cozies in America? Because tea isn't as big in America as it is here in the United Kingdom, is it?
No. Do you prefer tea or coffee?
Both.
Both.
Both. To be honest, I could have tea every single day, every single hour. Coffee, I have to kind of be in the mood for. So
I
probably
feel the same
tea.
way. I feel the same way. Coffee is not my favourite drink. I'd much rather have tea.
Tea's like a hug in a mug, isn't it?
It is.
Oh,
it is.
flush.
And I don't think you can have biscuits and coffee. Can you?
Oh, yeah. No, I'll dunk with anything. Yeah.
I do love a cup of tea, and that's my favourite thing to do is go for afternoon tea.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Afternoon tea is the best.
With little cucumber sandwiches.
Have you ever had like just a cucumber sandwich?
What you mean? Not as an afternoon tea, but just for lunch.
No, I mean, I've just remembered. Yeah, good point.
Please don't
Good
bring it
point,
up
producer
again.
Johnny. We've got back onto bread, haven't we? Last time we myself and Becky worked together, it was International Toast Day, and so I obviously asked the question of what do you like on toast? And Becky, well, let's just say that by the end of the day we were calling her Seagull. What was it? Please remind us. Not that I've forgotten.
I like anchovies on toast.
Yeah, just plain old anchovies.
Yeah.
My favourite bit though was when we came off air and we were still talking about it. My favourite bit was how she described that she cuts them into like soldiers so that each one has like their own little bready mattress, which I just thought was so cute. I think that's so cute.
It still makes me laugh when I think of a bready mattress. And you're quite incredulous when you were like, but so they each have their own little bready mattress. I was like, no, it's like, in the end, it was one of those days really, wasn't it?
I love it. Yeah, it was
No,
brilliant.
you're right. I wasn't even supposed to be there. I had no makeup on. I hadn't done my hair, and I was wearing my scruffy clothes. But never mind. Right, so I'm going to stitch around the outside here, but I'm going to leave this part open down here.
Rebecca has said we do have tea cozies in the US. Good. Yeah, 'cause you don't want cold tea. Although I suppose Americans have iced tea, don't they? So maybe you do. Rhonda says, yes, and we do have afternoon tea and tea cozies in the US. Ooh, is it the same type of afternoon tea? I'm talking, what's on a traditional? You've got to have a bit of Vicky sponge.
But
That's Victoria sponge.
Are you high tea or afternoon tea? Because they're different.
Oh, right, okay, yes, that's true. Well, you explain the difference.
You sit at different tables. That's pretty much it. So high... If you book high tea at somewhere like the Ritz, you're sitting at a normal kind of size table with chairs. But if you go for afternoon tea, you're normally sitting on like a lounge chair with everything on a coffee table.
I feel like you're yanking my chain here, Bex.
It's true.
I feel like... So you're trying to tell me the only difference between high tea is that you sit slightly higher up?
I'm sure there's some kind of difference in the food that you eat, but when I've had afternoon tea and high tea, the food's been pretty much the same, but it's just been to do with where you're seated.
Sure. Next up, you're going to be telling me, oh yeah, and if you heard of floor tea, everyone just eats tiny sandwiches and lies on the floor.
That's kids' party, surely.
Oh, I love it. That's brilliant.
No, I love an afternoon tea, and I think that is that's a key thing. I've got a friend from Sweden, and whenever she comes over, we're always like, well, where should we go for afternoon tea? That is our thing.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, afternoon tea.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And there's no cake. Or is there cake? Oh.
There's cake outside, yeah. There is cake. Oh, stop it. Right, okay. Apparently high tea is high back dining chairs.
Oh, see, I was right.
Served at a table. Afternoon tea is low and comfortable parlour chairs All whilst relaxing in the garden.
See, there you are. You're all laughing at me, and you know, we learned about green earlier on, which I found I found that quite fascinating. The whole idea of the different colours.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm teaching you about afternoon tea.
I just feel like you come here thinking, oh, I'm just going to hang out with my friends. Oh, yeah, technically it's work, you know. Have a great time crafting. But then you come out with knowledge as well.
Exactly.
And it's beautiful. Really is.
So I've made a bit of a mistake there, which I'm just fixing. So that was the little
Sorry,
hook.
that'll be my fault.
That's the little hook that goes to the top of the thing. As I was sewing it, I'm thinking, this isn't right.
To be honest, when you were sewing it, I was thinking, that looks really unusual. Because that's going to be on the inside.
Why didn't you say that to me? I was thinking, this isn't right.
No. I thought, oh, there must be some magic going on here.
Yeah, there isn't. It's just being silly. So I'm just going to stitch that. I'm going to leave that sort of poking out, then I will remember where it is. And I'm going to stitch
I
around.
do like a handy inner handle.
Yeah. For when your tea your teapot needs to be held inside. I don't know. It makes no sense at all. Never mind. These things happen. That's how not to do it. So I've just stitched that in now in the right place. I'm just going to trim that. Now, because we've got a curve around the edge, we're just going to give it a couple of little snips around here so it turns round properly. And you know, if I was being super sensible, I would have used some kind of sort of insulating wadding here. I've just used ordinary wadding, ordinary batting for my tea cosy, because if I'm being entirely honest, my tea doesn't spend very long at all in the teapot before I drink it.
I see.
Yeah. So I can turn it around that way. Look, that works now. It's in the right place.
That's so cute.
So I could even make it into a little hat. Look.
Let's have a look. Yes.
I look a little bit like an archbishop, don't I? I think I'm just gonna stick with my crown, and then I've got my lining here. So I'm going to have my lining. So my lining is the inside out. So when I put it into my teapot,
Oh gosh! No, please do tell us more about your tea towel.
How boring a show would that be if I just made a tea towel? That would be really dull, wouldn't it? Okay.
Yeah,
so this is my lining of my tea cosy. So I'm putting it in wrong sides together. I'm just going to pop it in the middle here. And I'm just going to make sure that I've got it in the right place. And then I'm going to finish off the edge with some binding, which I've made using the same fabric. So the way I've made my binding is when you make your fabric, when you cut your fabric, if I find a nice big piece that I've got here, we've talked before when I'm talking about things being cut on the cross or cut with going against the grain. So when you have your fabric like so, your grain is going up and down like this. Mm-hmm. But when you want to have something that goes around, you want to cut things on the cross, you want to cut things diagonally. So it's got a bit more stretch. So I'd already cut some strips of the fabric in a diagonal, and you can see how much that stretches. It stretches loads. And I cut a couple of strips together and I sewed them, and then I've ironed them together, and that's going to be making my binding, my bias binding that's going to go round the bottom of my tea cosy.
Well done.
Oh dear. Right, so I'm just going to go around. I'm going to match up the seams like so.
Love it.
And I'm going to pin it, and I'm going to put my binding to secure that together, and then I'm going to stitch it.
Mary Pat is saying that tea is big in our house. My mum used tea instead of coffee every day, and I took it into adult life here in the US. Lol. Mary Pat, I can get on board with that. Yeah, massive tea all the time. Oh yeah.
So I always think in America of, like you say, coffee, and I think I sort of because it's all the big coffee companies came from the US, didn't they?
That's true.
And Friends, you know that.
Yeah.
You always think of coffee and Friends.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. We've had Rhonda in saying, Becky, there is a difference. Afternoon tea was more high society, and high tea was for kind of regular folks. She's also saying that the sandwiches in an afternoon tea are more mini in size.
Oh, I like that. I like mini sandwiches.
Yeah.
Like mini cakes.
Do you know what I love about an afternoon tea? Don't have any crusts on the bread, do you?
No.
Which actually, you know, when you're a kid, everyone says, oh, you have to eat your crusts.
Makes your hair curly. Yeah.
Thing is, my hair is naturally very, very, very curly. So curly, in fact, that the first like 7 years of my life, if ever I got my face painted, I'd be like, oh, I really want to be a giraffe. No, you've got to be a lion with hair like that. So yeah, until I was like, I think I was like 9 when I got like my first zebra face, and I was like, oh, finally. Anywho, yeah, so that line never worked on me.
Oh,
You'll make your hair curly.
That's so sad that, you know, you couldn't have the face painting that you wanted.
Yes, I know.
I think we all need to see what your hair looks like or looked like when you were young. I think maybe that's the...
Maybe that's the way, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
But we're never happy with whatever our hair does, do we?
No, so true. People that have really straight hair want it curly. Same vice versa, isn't it? Rhonda is saying, scones. Are you a scone or a scone?
I'm a scone.
I thought you were a scone, so that's why I sort of put that accent on. Make you feel at home. Gosh, she's got a crown on. Of course she's a scone. Yeah, scones. Tea sandwiches and cake are an afternoon tea served in mid-afternoon. A high tea includes much more substantive fare, such as meat, fish, eggs. Sorry, I'm just laughing at the way I said eggs then. It was quite sort of glottal. Eggs. Breads and desserts in the early evening. Rhonda, I love your knowledge on this subject. By the sounds of that then, yeah, because when I'm having a type of tea, I'm wanting all the sarnies, mini meats, you know.
Yeah, but you see, I used to call it raw tea when I was a child. So on a Sunday, you'd have your big Sunday roast, and then in the evening you'd have things like cold meats and sandwiches and stuff like that. That used to be, and I just used to call it raw tea because as a small child it didn't involve any cooking. Well, that's what I thought.
That's
you know what I mean?
adorable. Yeah, because you don't have to cook it, so it's like uncooked. You think raw.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So I can get that, and I think tea is something that we say, up north more, having your tea, don't you?
Oh yeah.
It's, you have all these different sort of ways of talking about things. My friend always calls it sups.
Oh, was it in supper?
Yeah.
Right, got you. Yeah, no, tea for Northerners generally is the meal you will have around 7 o'clock in the evening, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tea.
But
to Southerners, it's, what is it? Dinner, that's right.
Yeah.
Which I think is odd.
Because when do you have your dinner? At lunch? I would have luncheon.
Yeah, you have it at lunchtime, don't you? You have it at 12 o'clock-ish or 1 o'clock-ish.
Do I say luncheon? Yeah, I say luncheon.
Do you actually say luncheon?
Really? Who says luncheon? I'm not in Downton Abbey.
Said the woman in the crowd.
Oh yeah, again, I forgot that. Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Luncheon. Maybe I'll start saying that just to see if anyone notices.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah. What's for luncheon?
It actually really suits you.
What, luncheon or the crown?
Luncheon.
Luncheon.
Well, both. You look lovely in the crown as well.
So I'm going back to work after talking about food, and I'm so hungry now.
Rebecca's also messaged saying, "Oh, I am now very hungry."
It's terrible. All I ever do when I'm here is talk about food. So I've just clipped around the edge there, and I'm going to sew that round now. So just to finish that tea cozy off. Cozy. That's all right.
And what seam are you doing on this?
So I'm just stitching the binding and the two pieces of the lining and the actual tea cosy together.
As well.
I have to keep saying tea cosy.
Yeah. Not
I'm just
tea
going to
towel.
take that part of the sewing machine off so I can turn everything around a little bit easier.
Mary is saying, Becky, this is so cute about your little tea cosy. It is very adorable, isn't it? I think your mum's going to like that a lot.
She better.
Rebecca has also said, we do like a lot of iced tea here.
So with iced tea,
Yeah.
Is that normally sugared? Is it normally sweet? Or just...
I don't think it's just tea that you've forgotten about and it's gone cold. I think it's intense, like meant to be intentionally cold. But I'm not sure.
So I don't think I've ever had iced tea.
No. It's not really a thing here in the UK, is it? I know you can buy there's like a lemony Lipton, I think it's by iced tea, but it's not like something you would just nip into your local shop and see there, is it? Apparently, it's a mixture of sugar and tea.
Oh.
Diluted with water and served over ice. Occasionally garnished with lemon, apparently.
See, iced tea is such an American thing for me. It's like fresh lemonade, again, and it just makes me think of the US.
Yeah, I've never had fresh lemonade.
No. So I think we need to have words with people. We need them to be providing us with iced tea and fresh lemonade. There we go. So you can see that's now finished.
So
we've got the lining inside. We've got a little bit of binding around the outside, and then perfect for putting over your teapot for afternoon tea for Mother's Day. Or making it into a small hat.
I love it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Becky, thank you so much for your hat cozy. That's a gorgeous make, that, isn't it? If you do fancy treating yourself to it, feel free to grab whatever fabrics you want. Some of them are over 70% gone in stock now, so do seize the moment. If you are brand new to sewing, message us on socials, because the lovely Becky's with us for another hour and a bit, so you can absolutely ask questions. Don't be silly if you think that they're silly questions, small questions. We're here to help you, and we are currently live if you're watching, and it is approximately 3:42 and 23 seconds, then you are watching us live. So do feel free to message us in. I'm going to give you a moment or two to check out your baskets, and whilst I do, find out more about Club Inspire.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the crafters' companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every £1, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Quick Buy, all your crafty must-haves in a flash. Take all the hard work out of patchwork with the Gemini Build-A-Block Patchwork System. This innovative collection of multimedia dies allows you to create patchwork blocks with ease and total accuracy. This set includes 18 dies to cut a range of shapes and sizes for patchwork or quilting projects. They can cut multiple layers of fabric at once, They include an accurate 1/4-inch seam allowance, plus all of your pieces are cut exactly the same size every time. Follow your own creative inspiration or look through the 20 patterns laid out in the guide. Not enough? There's an additional 60 patterns online. And right now, we have amazing offers on the Gemini Build-A-Block Patchwork System. Quick buy, get yours now.
We've had to make some changes to our shipping charges and we want to keep you informed. With continued pressure on domestic shipments around mainland US, we've had to temporarily increase the cost of our regular 6 to 10 working day standard shipping service from $9.99 to $12.95 and our free shipping threshold from $100 to $125. We also have some really great news to tell you. We've introduced a brand new shipping service called Express Delivery. This is a fully tracked door-to-door service which takes 3 to 7 working days and costs $19.95. This option means you'll get your crafty goodies in your hands sooner, meaning less waiting and more crafting. We're also upgrading delivery services for our Gold and Platinum Club Inspire members who will now receive priority delivery on all of their orders. And if that wasn't enough, we've upgraded these orders to our new Express 3 to 7 day service. Your patience and understanding throughout this very busy time has been amazing. So we'd just like to say a huge thank you and we look forward to chatting to you again very soon.
Hello crafters, how are you today? How are you getting on? I hope you are having a fun-filled, fabulous Friday. We have got a hefty amount of crafting still to do, and one thing that I know we've been waiting for absolutely yonks is the Gemini cutting plates. Perfect for your fabric. Now, I know what you're thinking. You are possibly thinking, hang on, when I got my Gemini Pro, it already had a metal shim in it. Why on earth do I need this? Well, totally different. These are seriously sturdy. They will run through your Gemini Pro beautifully, but as you may or may not be able to see, I'm not sure if you can, but you are getting 2 within here. And they are, like, I am putting all of my pressure onto that and I cannot bend that any further. Whereas, as you know, with the ones you get at home, they've got that movability to them. These do have different letters on them as well. There's like an A plate and a B plate, which can help you with your rotation. Basically, if you are planning on getting any multimedia die, I would personally say now is the time to get your cutting plates because it's 25% off. This size is for your Pro, but I have got other sizes as well. Just to let you know, all UK only. Do apologise about that, but just thought I'd let you know. Let's go to our 12 by 12 size now. So yeah, if you are planning on using your multimedia dies, the first time that I grabbed a set of multimedia dies, I thought I'm just going to use my normal Gemini plates. And does it work? Yes, it does. However, it does really badly etch into your plates. So I would say, personally, my advice is grab the right size that is for you, even if you're only planning on getting one multimedia die, because genuinely, these will kind of quadruple the length of the lifespan of your plates, if you will. So again, 12 by 12 here. I have also got for you your sort of original Gemini, as it were. And these ones, to give you your sizes, are just over 8 inches by 12.5 inches. So again, this is for like your original Gemini. Definitely worth grabbing your hands on these whilst you can. And finally, I have got the ones for your Junior. These ones, of course, great to run through your Junior. You can also, if you want to, run them through your original Gemini that way. Again, personal opinion would be get the largest for the machine that you have, or get one for each type of machine that you have, because then you know that you're always covered no matter how big or small your die. So feel free to grab those, 25% off, again, UK only at this point, so do seize the moment on those ones. Let's talk about the multimedia dies now, if we can. The multimedia dies, we have got for you a selection of different sort of shapes and designs. For anyone who's brand new, can you tell us a little bit what we mean by patchwork kind of dies?
Yeah, so our patchwork dies are generally multimedia dies, so they are thicker than your normal papercraft dies. So they are made to go through multiple layers of fabric. So this is why having these, having our fabric plates are really well worth having, because it also, like you were saying, you know, you find that they do give your other metal shims a bit of a battering because they're so deep. But yeah, the key benefit is that you'll be able to cut multiple layers of fabric really, really quickly and accurately. So if you've already got a die cutting machine that you perhaps use for papercraft and you've never actually used it for fabric, this is a really good opportunity for you to pick up something and start making designs that perhaps in the past, if you've been, you know, you hadn't been doing it too much sewing, you'd be a bit nervous about doing, because cutting out different angles and making sure that it will match perfectly is really quite tricky. And we've taken away the worry about that, because everything's going to be cut perfectly using the die cutting machines.
Definitely. And this is the shape that we are talking about. So, excuse me, within here, each of these different colours kind of represents each of your dies. If I flip it over for you, you'll be able to see these are the actual dies you get. So you get from around about 1 inch, that sort of head to toe, if you will, all the way up to 4.5 inches. So really useful, versatile, great for you to use. And don't forget, it is multimedia, so you can do these even on the likes of leathers, even on the likes of thick card for your papercraft. Saving today £10 or nearly $11, and nearly $12. So if you do want to grab these ones, you absolutely can. As well as that, I've got your half diamond as well. So hang on, where are we at? Here it is. So this one is your half 45-degree ankle. As you can see, again, lovely detail on these ones. You may well notice when you're looking at them on this design here, that actually you might be thinking, hang on, that doesn't look like a diamond or half a diamond, because you've got the little section here. That's just where we've, for all intents and purposes, saved you snipping off all of the little ends that you have to when it's inside, and it makes it too bulky. We've already done that for you, yet again saving you another step while saving you money as well. Just $29.99 or $33.71. Then I've got for you our half clamshell. Now I love this one. I think the patterns that you can create with this are wonderful. It kind of reminds me a little bit, because I've seen this kind of design used quite a few places, but the basis of it almost makes me think it's a bit 60s, a bit twiggy, but actually also layer them up and all of a sudden you've got fabulous fantasy shapes, because they give you almost like a scale, like a mermaid tail or a dragon scale look about them. Really cool, these ones. I do appreciate them. You're going in size, I'll show you on the back, from 1.5 inches all the way up to a 5.5 on this one, so you can create really nice big full sizes. Again, discounted deal, saving 25% on this one. Then I've got for you the equilateral triangle. There you go. So these ones are your equilateral triangles that we've got. Again, if you're looking at it and you're thinking, hang on, oh, I don't, you know, what are the different variations in these? It's all in the sizes. So you have got a 1.4 inch in height all the way up to a 4.5 inch in height. So you're getting plenty of these. And these will easily cut through 6 layers of cotton, we say, but Becky's tried like 9 pieces and it was no problem at all, was it?
Yeah, I think if you're using normal crafting cotton, it's not a problem. Obviously, the thicker the fabrics you're using, the trickier that they will be to cut through. But yeah, certainly 8, I would say, is 8 or 9. You know, you should be able to do. But we officially say 6, don't we?
We do. Which I would say is another real time saving thing, because when you're cutting out your own, and I'll be honest with you, I really, really enjoy sewing. Cutting out patterns is not for me. I haven't really got the patience for it. I'm a very children patient person, but if you you can't watch Corrie or any other soap opera whilst you're cutting out a pattern, because just one little miscut and all of a sudden the whole piece is scrapped. With this, you can cut out 6 pieces that might, even if you're really good at cutting out patterns, that might take you, you know, a minute per piece, let's say. That's 6 minutes worth of your life. This will do it in one pass through your Gemini, which takes around about 8 seconds. It's kind of incredible, it really is. Saving you time and again money, 25% off on that one. And the final one is my half diamond, and this is your 60 degree. So if I grab these for you, just to show you, this one is your half diamond, and these ones were your full diamond. So just to give you an idea of the variation, but also it is the angle of them. As you can see, kind of, well, if you show those together, it's slightly more angled on that one. So just to let you know, those are the differences. Your half diamonds here, 60 degrees, and again, today, just $26.24 or $29.96, if you will. Half price on that one. So choose which ones you fancy. Because, of course, we have got, you know, wonderful quilting day not too far away. When is it? 19th? 19th?
Yeah,
19th. So, order these today. Fingers crossed they'll be with you in time to get quilting and definitely saving you time. If you want to be inspired, I've got the lady for you. Seagull, what's going on?
Seagull, I love that. This is it's one of the great things I love about coming here. I get to have a look at all of the in the warehouse, all the different samples that we've got. This one I just love. So this is made with those half triangles and the full triangles here. So look how effective that is with all those different kinds of fabrics. So you've got these ones where you've got multiple colours, 2 different colours here. So one side is, choose one that you can actually see. One side, you've got one half in one colour and one half in another, but you've got others in one whole colour as well. And it looks so effective. So that is one of the types of things that you can make. But you've also got, this is the equilateral triangles. So that is more gorgeous. Of a, it's almost used as a kind of a plique design. And just, I think that looks so effective. So if you look closer, you can just see you've got a square in the middle, and then you've got all of the triangles around the outside, and then making sort of another square, and then you've got other ones on the other side that just sort of spread out. So it makes a kind of almost like a windmill. It reminds me of like a kid's windmill that you'd get down at the seaside. Really, really effective, and not with, you know, again, with using up your scraps of fabric. So these are really quite good because you've got all these different shapes and different sizes that you can make. And then you were saying about the half clamshell. I love the clamshell, but look how effective this half clamshell is. Look at that. That is amazing. And you can see when you're putting that together, how effective it is. So you've got these shapes, these half clamshells here, that you would normally assume, you know, you're going to be going all the way across for a clamshell. And I love a clamshell quilt. I think they're really pretty. But just by cutting them in half, you've got something that's just so much more modern and a totally different feel to that whole kind of sort of scales, sort of fish scales, that kind of thing that we talked about with the clamshell. So these are the kind of things that you can make. And I think they look really, really effective.
Totally. I really, really love that actually, because for me, and this is kind of possibly just my opinion, but back when I was younger, quilting was kind of quite olden day. We have this word that's antwacky. It basically means a bit like, a bit outdated, a bit kind of, you know, like you might say, oh, that knitted toilet roll cover is a bit antwacky. It basically just means it's a little bit, you know, out of date and old-fashioned. I think that's what quilting used to be like. But actually, now it's almost had a revival, and you can see how it's so modern, depending on what shape you use.
Yeah, and depending on the colours you use as well.
True.
Because, you know, you think of sort of traditional quilting, it was very busy, and there were lots of sort of mismatched colours. Whereas now, by using some very simple colours, maybe with a little bit of design, a little bit of pattern fabric, you can make something look really very, very different. And I think, again, using sort of simple colours, like block colours, and using a variegated thread to stitch them together to quilt over the top, you can really change quilts. And I think quilting is having a revival. You know, it's something that when my daughter went to university and I asked her what she wanted, I mean, obviously she wanted, you know, all the stuff that, you know, a normal teenager wants from IKEA or wherever, you know, she wants her homeware things from, and a coffee machine. But she also wanted a quilt. She wanted a quilt to take with her, something that was handmade.
That's lovely.
She gave me no notice to make it, but, you know, that's teenagers for you. But yeah, I think it is something that's personal, and I like the idea of being able to use fabric that means something in a quilt. And it's lovely, you know, if kids have a quilt that they're given when they're first born, and they sort of, it moves with them throughout the years. I think it's a really nice idea to do.
I agree. It's lovely.
So the one I'm going to be using is the half equilateral triangles, and that's what they look like here. So once again, these are our copper coloured dies. These are our multimedia dies, so they'll be cutting through multiple layers of fabric. So I've already cut out lots of my triangles. So I've already put things through my die cutting machine. Now I was talking earlier, and I was saying how important it is to remember how your fabric looks, because you want to make sure that your fabric is the right way round when you're cutting these out, when you're cutting them through your machine. So if you're going to be looking at how your design is going to look, whether you're going to be using lots of patterned fabrics, I wanted some of my triangles to be this way and some of them to be mirror image in order for me to put everything together. So you just need to have a think about that when you're planning what you're doing. Or if you don't want to have a think about that and it gives you a headache, only use plain fabric and plain colours, then it just makes life a lot easier for you.
Okay, cool.
So what I have done, I've already cut everything out, and I'm going to start piecing my pieces together. So I've cut out of the pink tulip, the tulip on pink and the tulip on pale, and I've got various different triangles, and I'm going to start by putting everything together like so. So I want almost like a triangle, like a diamond in the middle, like this. And then I want some of these pieces like that to go around here. Hopefully I've cut enough up. So you can see that one I cut the wrong way round. That should be that way. Haven't got it that way. That one, brain's not working. That's not going to work, that one either. So I've got some that I've already stitched together.
Got you.
So I've got these ones here. So let's start with those and make sure I've got enough. Stick those ones there.
Angela is saying, I'm in the UK. We're back to tea, by the way.
Right.
Angela says, I'm in the UK and I like Long Island iced tea. Does that count? Yes, of course it does. Although it has 0 tea in it. Just about 5 different types of booze, isn't it, in a Long Island iced tea. A Long Island iced tea is...
I don't know what's in it. There's a lot of alcohol in it. That's what I do remember. But I don't...
Yeah, there's genuinely, I'm sure there's about 5 different alcohols in it. That is no exaggeration. It's
one of those things that's lethal, you know, if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Apparently, it's tequila, rum, gin and vodka.
Oh, blimey.
That
sounds like the end of a night, really. As far as
topped
I'm
off
concerned.
with, well, it will be lemon juice, won't it? And some fizzy cola.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, and syrup. Syrup? What kind of syrup?
Sugar syrup.
Like sugar syrup. Nice.
Because there's not enough calories in that already, is there?
Yeah. Triple sec is, it's sweet, isn't it, triple sec?
I don't know. I've seen it in
flavour
cocktail
tequila.
menus, but I've never actually,
Goes in it as well.
never used it.
So that is 5. That is 5. There is 5 different. I'll be honest with you, I am fond of a Long Island iced tea, but it is exactly as I've said it, a Long Island iced tea. More than one.
I remember my husband going on a stag do. There was about 16 of them, and that's what they were drinking. So they'd rock up to a bar and say, well, we'll have 16 Long Island iced teas.
Oh, my
You can imagine the staff in the bar must be absolutely hating them. 'Cause how long was that take to make all of those?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you would have hated to have been the person in the queue behind them.
Yeah, they were clearly not popular.
Oh, bless.
So I've sewn those together. I'm going to give them an iron because I do need them to be nice and flat in order to put them all together.
Do feel free to let us know if, like me, you only use your iron for crafting. Sometimes I use my hair straighteners as well if I can't even be bothered to go up and get my iron.
So I did that one week when I was on my way up here.
Yeah.
And I needed to do a little bit of embroidery using our transfers.
Right.
And I hadn't had chance to put it onto a piece of fabric, the transfer. So I'd plugged in my hair straighteners on the train.
Brilliant.
And I used those.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're
Well,
not
it's a
supposed to
treat.
plug in your hair straighteners on the train.
Probably not.
I only did
the
it for a
plugs-
few moments.
In fact, the plugs do say laptop and mobile charger.
I only used it for a moment, I'm sure.
Oh, you're such a rebel, you are.
Shh, no one will know.
It's all those little sardines on bready mattresses. Makes you wild.
So I put those together, and I'm going to now stitch these two together, and then these two, and then stitch those together as well. And then I'm going to put that all together with the other pieces that I've made, and I'm going to make a little cushion cover for this using these fabrics.
Okay.
Just a mini cushion. When I was putting this together, I was like, this is the cushion for me to rest my head on when I'm having my afternoon nap. Because I do like an afternoon nap.
Oh, an afternoon nap. Right.
Yeah.
What are you classifying as an appropriate nap length? Be honest.
Right, okay.
Because I can tell in your face you want to lie to me. I can tell.
I do set an alarm because
Right.
I have to. And unfortunately, I do need quite a lot of sleep.
Right.
I need 45 minutes.
Oh, no, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
45 minutes on the sofa.
Yeah.
It ends up longer if I go to bed. But I've tried to fight it. And I've just discovered actually, you know, that is what my body needs.
Yeah, go
so
for it, I say. Do you still sleep all right at night, even though you've had a nap?
Yeah. I need quite a lot of sleep. So yeah, I'm not one of these people that struggles to go to sleep. I can literally just go, right, okay, I'm going to have a sleep now. And about 30 seconds later, I'm fast asleep.
I have to say I'm exactly the same, and I know that there will be so many people at home jealous of us. But I am exactly the same. Yeah, I can pop my head on a pillow and go, right, time to go to sleep, and then less than a minute later, I'm asleep. And also quite good at sleeping anywhere. You know what I mean?
Really? Do you sleep? I'm so worried about falling asleep on a train because I snore like a piglet, and I'm really quite embarrassed that I will fall asleep on the train, and you'll just hear this kind of noise coming from me.
I love it. Oh my goodness, my producer Johnny has just said that he woke himself up on a train once by snoring so loudly. Oh, that's hilarious. No, I don't mind asleep on a train.
But I think now, when you wear them, I think one of the good things about wearing a mask, I mean, obviously there's been lots of good things about wearing a mask to stop people from getting ill, but wearing a mask on the train and you fall asleep, no one can see you drooling.
It's so true.
You know, or on a plane, no one can see, or if you know you fall asleep with your mouth open or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
no one can see that.
That's
So,
a great point.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they should put that on the packaging. Oh, brilliant.
And you know, sometimes you've got people on the train or that fall asleep, and I always used to laugh at them, and now I think, oh gosh, I'm sitting there thinking, don't fall asleep, don't fall asleep, don't be that person that's on the tube that's fallen asleep, that's snoring.
I don't think I'd ever get to snoring point because I'm very much a like sleep nodder.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you drift and you drift and you drift, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, and you kind of wake up halfway around. You know what I mean? Like a little, I'm gonna go now. Yeah. So I wake myself up in quite a dramatic way from sort of the heaviness of my own head.
do you ever
just
wake
flopping.
up sort of shouting, thinking you're somewhere else, like, no, not the bananas, or something like that?
I can honestly say no. Sorry, what's up with the bananas?
I don't know, but you know, you're obviously dreaming. You have like a random, you know, you're not sure where you are. Sometimes, you know, I've woken my husband up when he's fallen asleep on the sofa, and I've woken up very gently. Normally, I just leave him to sleep. We call it sofering. Does anyone else do that?
Oh, no, I've never heard
So
of that.
when your partner falls asleep on the sofa, you very quietly switch the TV off, and you very quietly switch the lights off, and you sneak away, and then they've been sofaed So they wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, freezing cold.
Okay.
So we do that thing, sort of sofering. And sometimes I feel too mean and I don't do it. And I just very gently say, Tim. He goes,
Oh, really?
what's wrong? Nothing. I was just trying to wake you up gently. But, you know,
Yeah, but it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. No.
No. That's hilarious.
So I've done one piece here, so you can see I've got a bit of a diamond here. And then I've got the next piece here, which I'm just going to stitch together. So this is making the main panel for my cushion. I wonder if anyone else does sofering, or is it just me?
I've honestly never heard of it, but I do love the idea of it. Just like, do you do it, be honest, because you're like, wow, yeah, I get the whole bed to myself?
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Bit of sofering.
But I think I can't take full responsibility for it, because I think it came from my husband's friends, you know, when they were sort of growing up and sort of teenagers, that they used to do it, and it's become a bit of a classic thing within their sort of friend group. Like, oh, you know, people wants to, when they have, not that anyone has parties anymore because all of us are asleep, but you know, when you used to have parties and somebody would fall asleep, they'd be sofaed. But yeah, there's the silly things you do when you're younger. Whereas
And you still do now?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that looks great.
So we've done that little piece here. Now what I'm going to do is I've already pre-cut some strips, and I'm going to attach these strips. I'm just going to do it really quickly to the top and the bottom of here, and then once I've done those two, and then I'm going to attach a couple of strips here and another one here. So I'm just doing them roughly. I've not really sort of measured anything. I'm going to sew them together, and then I'm going to trim everything afterwards.
Could you use your quilting cutting guide to
Absolutely.
do those strips?
Yeah, absolutely you could. That would be the easiest thing to do, which wasn't what I did because I couldn't find them when I was prepping. But yeah, that would be, that is a really useful thing. Or if you've got the fabric guillotine, you could use that as well.
Cool. Useful to know. I'll be honest with you, Becky, I haven't been inundated with people messaging going, oh yes, sew for him, we do that as well.
Now I'm going to start a trend. It'll be a TikTok trend of sofering people. That's what I reckon. And you heard it here first.
Yeah, well, I'll bear that in mind. And I love how you've adopted it.
Yeah. They used to do this, this group of friends when they were younger. They used to do this silly thing when they were on the tube. On the old trains in the underground, and there's still some on some of the lines, but you used to have different carriages, and you'd have little doors that you could go through.
Yeah.
And they used to post people through the window. So they choose somebody, and then they would...
Wait, out of their friends? Not
yeah,
just
no,
sort of
no,
a
not a
person.
random person.
Right,
no,
yeah,
like a
one
friend.
of them in the group, yeah.
And they would they'd make them go up onto push them against the roof of the tube.
Right.
And then they'd post them through the window.
Right.
Up into the next carriage.
Right.
And they used to find it hilarious. Oh, when I used to go out with them, I used to be really worried that I was going to be the person that was posted.
Did you ever get posted?
No, they tried to one time, and I was pregnant. And I hadn't told anybody, so I used that as my excuse. I was like, no, I'm pregnant.
So is that how you came out that you were pregnant?
Yeah.
Because you were avoiding being posted? Sure.
That's exactly what happened with that group.
Oh my goodness.
I hadn't told anybody else, none of my family or anything else. I was like, I'm going to have to tell these people, otherwise I'm going to end up on the floor in the next carriage.
Oh my
on the
gosh, that
tube.
is brilliant.
And at the time we found it quite funny, but I think for everybody else in the tube, they just thought, oh my goodness, for these crazy people. And no, now we're all much older and more sensible. You know, when we see people being silly on the tube, we're like, ugh, you know, never behave like that. And that's exactly how we used to behave.
Oh, I love that. That's
Disgusting.
brilliant. Oh, now it's just sofa-ing on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I can't be the only one that sofas. Can't be.
I've honestly never heard that in my life.
But are you going to try it?
Yeah, I'll have a go. I'll have a go. Oh, I love a good nap on the sofa. I am. If it is an afternoon nap, sofa always. Never get into bed for a sleep.
Do you have the TV on for the nap?
Yeah. I have it on and low. Yeah, I like it. Do you love, I could just go for an afternoon nap. I won't though.
Well, now they've got rid of the bed. We used to have a bed in the green room here. And when I first came here, I was like, oh, useful for afternoon naps.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever had the opportunity to have an afternoon nap. And also I'd snore, so you'd be able to hear me in the studio.
Yeah, as you described yourself, it sounds like a little piglet. So I think that actually would be adorable.
Yeah, and when I didn't say piglet, I said, you know those really enormous piggies that you get, the really, really big ones, the ones that are quite frightening because they look like the size of a donkey. That's how I snore.
Like a warthog snore.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Love it. I feel like I'm learning so much about Becky today, and I love it.
When don't you? When do I come in and I don't let all my secrets come out, don't they?
Yeah. I think it's because we kind of forget we're meant to be working. It's just lovely to have a nice little natter and a craft, isn't it?
I'll be working.
Well, apparently, yeah, by all accounts. I love the way you're putting this together. Do you know, it reminds me of a little bit Laura Ashley kind of.
Yes. Yeah,
really nice.
It reminded me of the kind of Laura Ashley things. And I just wanted to show how to do something that was quick and easy, that didn't involve a huge amount. You know, it was just easy to put together, so you could just trim everything afterwards. Because, you know, like you were saying, I don't really like the whole measuring things and making sure they fit.
No.
So this for me was a little bit easier. So I'm just going to sew across here. I'm just going to trim everything off afterwards. And then I'm going to do an envelope back to this little cushion. But this is going to be my nap cushion.
That's
this
lovely.
One. I think that's what we all need, a little nap cushion. Or maybe my travel cushion for when I go away. I can use this on the train on my way home.
Yeah,
and go with my crown.
Oh, yeah, but that's not going to help with the snore keeping in, is it?
No.
Having your own little pillow. Yeah, and your dribble mask on.
And my crown.
I love it. Oh, I think that's brilliant.
I do wonder what people are going to be using this fabric for, what they've got plans doing, the people that have bought this. So I think it lends itself to so many different things, doesn't it?
Agreed.
This fabric.
I think Mother's Day, absolutely bob on for, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Do feel free to message in and let us know what you're going to be using your fabric for, or what maybe you would use it for. Do you know what, I actually think these would be lovely as book covers.
Yeah.
Really nice as book covers. They've got that almost, I know this sounds really strange, but you know, in like Beauty and the Beast, and she's in kind of those kind of books that they have in the library, it almost reminds me of that for some reason, because they're all kind of quite luxurious books, aren't they? And I can totally imagine this being like book binding. I think would be really pretty looking.
I saw a friend recently, and he had this lovely shirt on, just a very ordinary white shirt.
Yeah.
But every button had been covered with a different kind of fabric on there. So it had, and I think it was some kind of designer thing, I suspect. But it was really effective. And I thought actually some of these fabrics would make lovely sort of covered buttons, just small covered buttons.
That's a great
and actually,
idea.
Maybe that's quite a good way of making something look a little bit different. You know, just a plain white shirt,
I love that
changing the buttons and using a whole host of different fabrics that work together but different patterns.
Yeah, tonal ones. Because actually, I am always shocked at the price of buttons.
What?
The price of buttons.
Oh, you're shocked? I thought you said, I always shopped at the price of buttons. And I was thinking, is that a button shop that I don't know about? The price of buttons.
No, always shocked.
Yeah.
Like the little tiny ones, fine, not much. But as soon as you go in like over a cent, I saw some that are like £9 each. the other day.
£9?
Yeah.
Are they
fair
made of
enough.
gold?
They were pretty big ones. Pardon?
They made of gold.
What? No, they weren't made of gold, no. But they were pretty big, fair enough, because I was looking for ones to replace my coat. But they were £9 for one. But actually, if you did just get a really plain shirt that's already got its buttons attached, you're totally right. I love the idea of doing that. How would you do that? Would you glue it on?
No, you buy coverable buttons.
The cover sections, yeah, I get you.
And, you can get little, almost not machines, but you're almost like a little tool to help you do that.
Right.
So very, very simple to do. But you can cover them in all sorts. You can get all sorts of different ones. You get very domed ones.
Yes.
That you could do, or he just had some they were very small, and they were the size of like a normal shirt button. So they went through the normal sort of buttonholes that he had. But I thought it was just quite a good
That's really
idea.
clever.
Something a little bit different.
And these do work really nicely together for something like that, don't they?
They do, yeah. And, using your offcuts for things.
Oh, yeah,
that's worth
definitely.
doing.
Yeah, 'cause
Right.
you really don't need a lot.
So I've given it an iron, and I've just trimmed it very, very casually.
Yes.
I've casually trimmed.
Yeah.
Now what I've got here is a piece of batting. So this is my lining fabric, not my lining, my fabric, my batting, which is the sort of batting or wadding that we would use. So it's a little bit, I'm going to make it, turn it around this way, and I'm just going to put it all together. I'm going to trim it slightly. So make that a little bit thinner here. Let's give that a little mark, and then I'll just trim that off. And then I'm going to put that against here. Now normally I would stitch it, or I'd give it a spray, but for just for ease, that's not what I'm going to bother putting together today.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put the backing on there and sew it all together. So if I just trim this off here, fold that over like that, and find my ruler.
You obviously get the train quite often. Do you like travelling by train? Are you the type of person that might go on like a train holiday, for example?
I think now, yes. I quite like the train. I have driven up a couple of times, but it's quite a long way. And the train is a bit easier. I can do some work while I'm on the train.
Yes.
But yeah, I do think actually train journeys, especially, I think as time moves by, I'll be coming up here and it'll be daylight. I'll be able to see, something of the countryside at the moment. I can't really see much of what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do really like it. I think it's a lovely way of travelling. Whereas I've always sort of thought, I'd always want to go in the car, but I don't actually feel like that anymore.
I do feel like you get a lot more done, don't you, when you're on the train?
You do, absolutely. So,
Also, if you do want to have a little snooze, then you can.
yeah. Well, other people can. Obviously, I can't.
No, of course not.
No.
I'm sure that, I don't know, actually, do you know what I was going to be? I'm sure if you did snore, like, no one would laugh, but then I thought,
there'll be
that's not true.
videos.
In fact, it'd probably be on social media within the hour.
Exactly. So I'm just going to pin that together. I'm going to stitch just down here and across here, just to hold everything together. So this is effectively what we call stitch in the ditch. So I'm going to stitch along where I've already got a seam.
Okay.
And that will hold everything together. But if I was doing this at home and I had more time, I'd spend a bit more time in actually sort of quilting it together. But doing something quick like this is nice and easy.
Have I heard what? Sorry, Johnny. Ben's newest crafty song launched today. No, I haven't. Going to show us next after this demo. The crafty can you say? No, I haven't seen this yet. I'll be totally honest with you. I am very much looking forward to it. Becky, have you been privy to the can? And what do you think?
It was very funny. It's definitely worth a watch. Definitely.
Stay tuned and we'll be playing it after this demo by all accounts. Has it got people involved again? Lot of backstagers. Adam's in it, Liam's in it. You in it, Johnny? You're not in it. Oh, you weren't here. It must have been your day off, right? I get you. Yeah, because from my sort of recollection, one that Ben did not that long ago, you were sort of the dancer's hype man, weren't you, Johnny? Yeah. Johnny was kind of behind the cameras, giving everyone hints and tips, basically, yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah. Yeah, behind the scenes, he was having a little dad dance session. Everyone was following his moves. It was lovely.
I like the idea of this, you know, this kind of, you know, getting a bit of a crafting dancing going on. I think, you know, it's going to happen more often, isn't it? Once a month. I'm just making that up.
Oh, right. I was like, what, really?
Yeah, everyone's got to do it, apparently.
Oh,
You're
right.
next.
Love it. Great. What would, if you were to do a sort of version of your own song, what song do you think you'd go for?
Oh, goodness, I've got no idea. No idea.
I'll leave it with you. You have
Thank
a little
you.
think on it. Oh, you're welcome. Have a little think on it.
Maybe someone can come up with a plan.
Yes, if
You know,
you
and
were to do your own song, make it crafty. If you could make it crafty, that'd be great. Maybe you'd change something in the title. Do please feel free to message in. All songs completely have gone out of my head now.
Yeah, I can't think of any songs.
You could obviously do E17's Stay Now, but change it to like So Now.
Yeah.
So now, so now.
I always think that's a bit of a Christmassy song, isn't it? I think
Totally, yeah, because it was filmed at Christmas. And those coats are back in, aren't they? They're like
Those
Nanook
great
of the
big-
North.
Those great big puffy things.
Yeah, they're back in.
Yeah. And shame I didn't keep mine the first time round.
Oh.
So I've just trimmed around the edge there. Now I'm going to put my envelope back onto here. So I've used some of this fabric. Oh look, I've made it too small. Shh. Don't worry, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter
it?
because I'm going to put it like this.
Right.
Don't worry, it's fine. It's all good.
Okay.
So we're going to have right sides together
right,
like that,
Right, yeah.
like that. And we're going to put that one
I get you.
right sides together like so. And it doesn't matter that it's too small because we're just going to trim it.
Great. And again, you can use all of your offcuts, can't you? Have you got any
Yeah.
good little projects for when you have offcuts?
I started saving even the tiniest scraps. I was going to do like a scrap quilt. So you do you sew your little tiny pieces together to other pieces, and you just sort of build up until you've got like a strip, and you've got lots of little tiny scraps there. There's lots of things online about how to do like scrap quilts.
Oh, I've not heard of that.
Actually, I found that I've got so many scraps that I'm never actually going to, I don't think I'm ever going to get round to using them. So I've sort of given up on that because I've got my own fabric,
Yeah, of
my
course.
own products. So I've got all my fabric from that as well. I do keep strips of fabric, and you know, so when you're cutting off the edge of a piece of fabric, I keep those, and then I twist them and tie them together and make them into a kind of rope, and I use that for tying packages. You look completely confused.
Sorry, yeah, I am. What do you mean for
So
tying
if you
packages?
have, so it would be, if I had strips of fabric smaller than this,
Right, okay.
if I cut that in half,
Right,
if I had strips of fabric like this,
yeah,
and they were offcuts, I twist them round
yeah.
like so. Just put that there like that. And then I twist this piece. So I have lots of different coloured pieces of fabric,
Okay.
like so.
I don't understand where this is going at all.
And then you then twist these fabrics together and you make a kind of rope, and you can add little bits of fabric together afterwards, and then I use them as to tie packages together. So when I've got like a present or something, so I might have fabric, like Christmassy fabric, little strips of that. So I try and use them up, but normally the strips of fabric are a little bit thinner than that.
That is such a good idea.
It's just a good way of using those little bits, and you know, especially if you're cutting off the selvage edge of your fabric. I just don't like throwing bits and pieces away.
No,
and it's a good way of just using up those little scraps and making something a bit different.
That is a great little idea, and how luxurious that must feel for your friend opening, you know, your gift that has got really proper fabric kind of dressing it. That's a really nice idea.
Well, it's a little bit like, you know, the Japanese thing about, you know, you tie up you wrap your present with a scarf, don't you? Which is very fashionable at the moment.
Yes. Yeah, I got a bath bomb in a scarf the other day.
You got
A bath bomb in the scarf.
I
Yeah.
bet that made the scarf smell really nice.
It really did. Yeah, it's delicious.
So I'm just sewing around the outside.
Don't forget, if you have got any questions for the lovely Becky, do feel free to get in touch. On our social media pages, you can find us on YouTube and Instagram and obviously Facebook as well. So do feel free to ask away any questions if you have them. Because we're live at the moment, so it's always handy to pick Becky's brilliant, bejewelled brain.
Do you know, isn't the thing about, you know, where the head hangs heavy wearing the crown or something like that?
Heavy is the head that wears
Yeah.
the crown? Yeah.
No, I don't feel that.
No.
No. No,
Right. Well, maybe it was meant to be then.
I want to wear it all the time,
Right.
and I'm going to.
So
Regardless
where
of
did you
I am.
acquire this from?
It was somewhere here in the studio. I can't.
So you just found it and put it on?
It was a random conversation with Craig and Ben about having unicorn parties, and I said something about being a unicorn princess, and
Right.
who knows with them where it went. But
Right. And next thing you know,
yeah, next
6
thing I
hours
know,
later,
next thing
you're
I know,
still in the
someone
crown.
came in with a crown, and I popped it on. So
Love it.
it would be rude not
No,
to, wouldn't it?
I agree, and it does suit you.
Thank you.
It's sparkling.
Right. So I'm just going to trim around the edge. So when I said, oh no, that doesn't quite fit, I should have just measured that before I came on. But I'm just going to trim around the edge. I would do this with my rotary cutter to make it nice and neat and straight, but I'm not going to. And I'm just going to trim around the corners. So when I turn everything around the right way, it should have some nice sort of sharp corners to it.
Lovely.
So this is the nap cushion.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
45 minutes sounds like a really decent nap to me.
Yeah, and my husband always says, oh, it's not really a nap, then it's a sleep. Well, I've tried to minimise it. I've tried to cut it down, and I've discovered 45 minutes is about as much as it's just enough. It's not too much, it's not too little. It's just right for me.
Apparently,
it's just right. It's like the porridge.
Yeah, just right. Apparently, is it called like a pilot's nap or something like that, which is 20 minutes? And apparently that's around the optimal time, like the best time for most people is a 20-minute nap. That's just not enough for me. 20 minutes just isn't.
No, I feel the same.
I do like a disco nap.
Yeah.
And a disco nap is, you know, I would say longer than 45 minutes as a general rule.
But I've heard of disco naps. I know what disco nap is, and I mention it to my kids, and they've got no idea what I'm talking about.
Oh.
And so I don't know whether is it something that people don't have anymore? You know, I think most people, you want a little bit of a nap before you go out, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, or
Yeah, so for those who don't know, a disco nap is just that. If you're going out to disco, to party, to dance, to be with your friends, you have a little quick snooze in the afternoon just to get those batteries charged.
yeah. Otherwise, you know, you'll be on your way home at 9:30, wouldn't you?
Yeah, can't be having that.
No. So there you go. So there is your little cushion cover using the
that's
fabric
so
and using those
lovely.
equilateral triangles there.
That is gorgeous. Thank you so much for showing us that. That's lovely. And again, now you've finished it, it definitely has got that Laura Ashley feel to it. Really nice, really chic, and with the right tools, really easy. So let me just remind you, the sections in the centre were done using these, the half equilateral triangles. So you've got this one. If you do want to seize the moment, then you have the chance to do so right now. It is on your screen, saving you 25%. It's time to ask, can we? Yes, we can down with the lovely Ben. Have a nosy.
Pokey tools and paper pads, gilding, wax and stamping mats, scissors, glitter, builder blocks, faux snow fabric, rocker blocks, Bria's misters, quilting clips, and die brush tools, precision snips, finger daubers, acetates, stencils, glue guns and templates, Gemini Pro, Julia and the OG, Gemini Go, Mini and the MIDI, dry blend, brush pens, aqua pens and aqua blends, illustrators, classics and dry blends, and color blends, and glitter pens, and sparkle pens, outliner pens. Fine tip glue applicators, envelopers, creators, stamping platforms, boxer boards, a big score and scoreboard, Nina card and craft card, glitter card, matte black card, graphics, wadding and adhesive sheets, glass mats, guillotines and pen trays, bottle dice and zinc trays, mitre tools and binding tools and toe bags, USBs, bone folders and punches, low-tack tape, pin brushes, stamens, mountboard, flower forming foam, outline markers, DVDs, spelled quick Triton pads and CDs, gilding flakes and washi tape, tacky glue, red liner tape, craft passport, press sparkle pots, Centura pearl and sticky dots, pigment, ink pads, chunky glue, body bags, all-purpose glue, embossing folders, blending tools, storage folders, much more too. Water reactive ink pads, body bags, craft magnets, year of craft and glue, stick and spray and stick away, dotty tape and split pens, acrylic paint pens, tape pens, watercolor card, rotary cutters, magazines and stamping card, ultimate Pro and the rotating design board, ultimate first compendium, Sarah signature collections, and don't forget discovery kits. Oh, and there's foam pads, think that's it. One final thing, foam on a roll, foam on a roll.
Well, I never. That was a feast for the senses. I loved it.
That's brilliant, isn't it? It's so
really
funny.
Good. Really good. And loving all, Nicola and everyone in the background helping out and stuff. That's so cool. He's still sat out there, actually, and I've just said, oh, I love that. How are you getting on? Have you treated yourself to some goodies? If you want to know all of the sort of different elements that we've got for you, let me tell you what we have got for you coming up, because I've got Save a Stitch on the way, which means we have got some absolute bargains. Now, we're starting off with some, oh no, that's not felt, some fabric bundles for you.
Felt?
Felt, you've got felt. Ow! I was like, I can catch up. That's going to take an eye out. That was overarm.
I didn't want to knock down any of the builder blocks.
Oh my God. I can't believe that was overarm. The thing is, because Becky's quite far away, I understand. But Becky took it, walked up to me, walked closer, so she was closer to me, and then overarmed it while she was closer to me. Can't believe that. Anyway, thank you. Oh yeah, I bet you will. Thank you very much, Becky, for that. Wow. Okay. I have got for you a bumper felt bundle for you now, in a selection of your lovely colours. So I have got for you, in the sheet size of these are 24 centimetres by 22 centimetres. You've got 17 different sheets in here, and you have got 17 different colours, as you can see. So I've got loads of hues in here for you. Don't forget that you can use your multimedia dies to cut through these, which is of course going to be very, very useful indeed. With these, you can do the fuzzy felting when they stick together, can't you?
Yeah, so we were doing the ones with the little applique people, weren't we? Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely cut those out and make a nice sort of a game for children, or use them just as a applique. With those felts. I found they were quite good because you don't have to worry about it fraying. You can make little finger puppets as well out of that, and that's quite nice to do.
That's so sweet. Yeah, I love that idea. do one holding like a little rugby ball and just... and we have got for you today a fabulous collection. It's just $7.99 or $9.97 for you today. If you do want to seize the moment on it, then absolutely do have it. I have got some applique dies next to me. Yes, I do. Let's talk about build. Do you want... Have you got them?
I've got some.
You haven't got them, have you?
I've got some, yeah.
Hang on. Oh, I'm worried for my life here. I hope I've got some.
I'm in front.
Got it. Yeah, hiding from me.
You don't need me to throw these.
No. I'm all right, thank you. I prefer all of my eyes and limbs where they should be. And we have got for you today the applique set now. For anyone who doesn't know what applique is, can you explain to us, please?
Yeah, I've actually got a sample here, so you can have a look. So this is an appliqued quilt. So if I open the whole thing up, you can see it's really quite spectacular here. So applique is when you have little shapes that you then stitch on top of something. So these ones have been using the flower appliques that we've got here. We've got little bird appliques. So the way we would cut them out is using either historically sort of bondeweb or something like that, sort of the thing that you iron onto the back of your fabric, and then you run it through your die cutting machine, and then you would then peel off the backing fabric and then iron it on and then stitch around the outside. So you can use it for all sorts of different things, but yeah, traditionally you would use applique on quilts, but actually it looks really nice on little bags as well.
Yeah, that's a lovely idea. I love those. That looks really pretty. I like the colour palette they've gone for as well. I have got some of these shapes within this bundle. If you fancy treating yourself to it, then absolutely do feel free to. We have got for you some multimedia dies here. Craigle, just do watch out the way if Becky's got anything, because she's just been lobbing some felt at me, overarm. Yeah.
I was helping.
Oh, yeah. She moved closer to me and then overarmed felt at my face.
So I don't have to be quiet while I'm doing this Insta story, because they've just involved me in it. Even though you're going to see this involved, when it's a live show on my Insta story. Anyway, I'll go back to whispering.
All right. No problem. I have got for you here a selection of wonderful different shapes. As you can see, we've got your fabulous flower. So you've got your central section, which is your circle, and then you've got the different sized flowers on this. Two different centre circles, the smallest being a 1.1, the largest centre being a 1.7. And then for the flowers, you've got your 3 inches over the top, but you've also got your 4.2 inch. I've got this beautiful bird as well. Really like this one. The bird body shape itself is wonderful. You also get a really tiny circular die, 0.3 mil, which is great for the eye. Now, I think that is actually fabulous for if you like doing your own like bookbinding type, almost like your own ring binder style books, then you can actually use that because it's multimedia die, so it will go through the thicker stuff, you know, like the cards, etc. Bringing to you your floral again, your wreath and vine, and then I have also got for you the bow and heart as well. So if you do want to seize the moment, now is your chance on doing so. As well as that, I've got your quilting pattern dies. Oh, just as a reminder as well, the prices on these are bargainacious. You've got half price deal on that. In fact, some of them are up to 70% off, just to let you know. So if you do want to, that's why we call this section Save a Stitch, if you haven't joined in for this before. Now let's talk about your quilting pattern guide. These are miraculous. These make your life so easy. What you're going to be able to do with these is create really beautiful patterns very easily. So sometimes you'll have to kind of do your patterns, you'll have to almost do it by eye. Obviously you might draw them on, etc. This, it kind of does it for you, and it almost acts as a sewing machine stencil in a really strange way. It's wonderful, and depending on how you lay them in is dependent on the type of pattern you get. So this one here, for example, will do all of these different styles, and I'm sure more if you set your mind to it. So in here you're getting 4 different shapes, and it is by 2, and get 2 for free today. So if you do want to seize the moment on these ones, you're going to have a lot of time to create wonderful texture and details designs. Because with quilting, quite a lot of it is to do with textures like this, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And then you could make something very simple. I mean, if we look at something like this cushion, that hasn't been quilted, but you could, once you quilt things, you can really sort of change how they look. So I've got some samples here of how what the quilting pattern guides would look like once you've used them. So this is the heart one. So this is what the heart shape looks like. And they're quite rough. Well, they've got like a texture, this kind of plastic, and that helps you grip. So you would put your fabric down with your wadding on the back, and you would put your sewing machine with your foot, your free motion machine embroidery foot, and it goes in this little groove, and you just sort of move everything around. But because this sort of sticks to the fabric, when you come to a finish, you then sort of move your little guide along so you can do these little patterns. So they are really good. They do take a little bit of practicing to get a nice smooth movement. So ideally, if you've got some quilting gloves, they're the real thing to have. But you can see you've got a few others. These are the samples of all the different patterns you can make with the heart ones. And then these are all the other ones that we've got here as well. So you can see you can make all sorts of different designs, whether you do these all the way over the top of your things you're quilting, or whether you're just going to be using them just for doing sort of the odd border or odd shape here and there. When we had the design that I did earlier on today, we had a big white square in the middle of the thing that I was making. You could do something like this in the middle with a variegated thread, and that would look really good just by using something like that, and that works really well along as a border as well. So lots of different options you can have with those, and they're such a good price, you'll definitely get a lot of use out of them.
Most certainly. They just go on and on and on, don't they?
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Thank you for showing us some of those. Loads of you getting in touch, talking, quite a few of you about Ben's lovely piece. Rebecca's asked, I wonder how long that took, how many times that took to film. I don't know, actually. I'm going to ask him in a little bit. I'm going to ask him how many takes it took. Thank you for that one. Deborah's asking, why do you not mitre corners? Or would you mitre corners?
I would if I was doing something for myself at home, but just because it's quick here, I don't mitre the corners. But yeah, you could do, and you get a much better, much sharper finish to it. But yeah, I tend to, because I'm trying to get everything finished quicker, I tend not to. We do have a mitre tool, which is really good to use, and I think there's a little video on there, or you can certainly look back on previous episodes of Softer Side of Life and see Bernie using that for you. So that's definitely worth having if you like that nice sharp corner to your quilts.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Okay, let me bring you some other goodies. Let's talk about our quilting pattern guide. I've got 2 deals for you here. And the difference in it only is the type of foot that goes on whatever machine you've got. So I'm going to do the low shank foot collection first. Low shank is kind of your average sewing machine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Most.
Yeah, if you look at your, if you get your user guide for your sewing machine, it will tell you whether you've got a low shank or a high shank machine. And in actual fact, you can probably look, there's a couple of websites you can look at, and it will tell you, if you put in your model number and your make, what kind of machine you've got if you've lost that. But yeah, mostly it's, you know, that's generally what your machines are, low shank.
So if you do want to get this one, let me tell you what else you'll get with it. You will get your quilting pattern guide. And as you can see, this is a really, really useful form that basically gives you accuracy and areas in which you can cut and use these designs and the lines to measure. It's great for quilting, of course, but you can actually use this for loads of other things. And then we've also got your quilting gloves. Now, these are not just in case your little extremities get nippy, is it?
No, definitely not. These give you a little bit of grip. They're sort of silicone covered, so they give you a bit of grip. So when you are using the quilting pattern guides and you're sewing through your machine, you've got that kind of grip and you're able to move them properly. I just grabbed one of the samples to show you, because this has been used, the quilting pattern guide's been used just to put, you see these little lines here?
Ah, yeah.
So they've been put on that in order, so when you're actually using the shape, you've got those sort of marks already on there, so you can keep everything looking nice and symmetrical.
That's great. So you know that it's going to look great every time. So that is your first option. I've also got your high shank. So it's the same situation. You get those grippable gloves. You also get the guide itself, and then you're getting the high shank. Again, find out which yours is. Either look in the handbook or have a little nosy online. Today, 60% saving, which is epic. So if you do want to treat yourself to some of these goodies, maybe you're, just starting out, you're gonna of course want fabrics, and I am happy to tell you that I have got a small selection of my fabrics left. And I'll be honest with you, when I say small selection, I mean like less than 20 of every single one of these left, every single one. So let me bring to you the different designs. This is one of the lovely designs that Becky worked with earlier on. You've got these bouquets of your wonderful tulips in here. Great for Mother's Day, great for spring and summer being on the way as well. Actually, the tulips are out at the moment in my garden.
Yeah, it's been quite mild, hasn't it? 'Cause I think lots of people are saying the flowers are coming out much earlier than they expect.
Yeah, I've got some lovely little tulips in the garden at the minute. But these ones are tulips that will last and last and last. $6.99 or $10.49. Now that is for half a metre. And if you buy, say, 2 sets of it, you will get 1 continual metre. So if you do want some big, this will be lovely. Then I've got for you the teal, which is the most popular. I have literally got like 2 left of this one. It is limited stock. It's a tiny amount I've got left of it. It turned limited stock a while ago. But yeah, I've got hardly any of these ones left. So literally, if someone, grabs themselves 3 meters worth, then that's probably it gone. So yes, do seize the moment. Check out your baskets on that. Then I've got your pale. Now I like these 2 in together, but as the lovely Becky showed us before, they actually all work really nicely. Because you've got the same theme running through these, it does work really well together, even though there's quite a nice variation within the colours. So just as a reminder, this is your gorgeous pattern. I'll open a little bit more out of it for you, just so you can see the form of this. I love this one. I think it really is very versatile. Again, if you're a platinum person, then it is $5.59 or $8.39. Let me move on for the outline. This is the one that Becky used in her tea cozy, not tea towel. If you do want to treat yourself to this one. Why did you go for this one as a lining?
Sorry.
You're all right?
Sorry. Why did I go for it? I thought it worked really well with those red colours.
Do you often fan yourself when you cough?
Sorry. I don't know what happened there. I just thought it worked really well with those red colours. Those kind of, they're almost a tomato-y kind of colour, some of those reds. I thought they just worked really prettily together. And because I wanted to quilt the tea cosy as well, I thought it lent itself to that. So yeah, I like those colours. So
it's nice almost as a canvas, in a way, that you then painted on with fabric.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's beautiful, that, wasn't it? Oh, okay. Sorry, I was shocked myself then. I was like, who has just said that poetry? Oh, me. I have also got for you your silhouette on red now. Is this the tomato coloured one?
Yeah, this is. Do you not think it's tomato coloured?
I wouldn't like to say. Because I don't like to disagree with you.
Tomato and kind of salmon colour.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you see that?
Yeah, totally. We have got for you the Grasses silhouette on red. What do you like? You're right. What do you like about this pattern, please?
Every time. You're horrible to me. Every time I go for have a drink, you ask me a question.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise.
I think this is very William Morris looking, this piece of fabric. It's got that kind of look to it, like one of the Strawberry Thief designs. So it's quite sort of a traditional kind of almost Victorian pattern to it.
That's a really nice way of putting it, actually. They've got almost like a flame-like look to them as well, depending on which direction you put them in. So that one, again, same dealio. Let's move on to another one. This one is your Buds on Red. Really nice texture and design within this. And actually, now I look at it, when I turn it this way around, they almost look like little chili peppers hanging down, which is really snazzy. But yeah, when you put them like this, they do look like buds kind of growing upwards. But when you flip them around, they do look like lovely little chilies, which is kind of cool if you have anyone in your family who grows them. Let's go on to my next one, which is your grasses on red. Got a bit of extra thread there. So this one has got these lovely different hues in it. Very unisex, this one, actually. I could very much see this as like a make for anyone, really. It could be quite a good one as like a laptop, what do they call them? Like a tablet bag or something like that. It could be quite a nice one. Then let me bring to you the green version. This one, very, very popular. Also, literally every single one of these, I've got less than 20 of now. So if you do want to seize the moment, you absolutely can do. $6.99 or $10.49, and that is, of course, again for the half metre. Let's go for the tulips now. So these are ditzy tulips, and I've got two different hues for you, each of the way you look at these. I have got for you this one, which is your green hue. Really nice kind of muted green on this one. But then I've also got the one that is on your yellow also. So it's absolutely up to you, dependent on which of these ones you like. But as you can see, those kind of as shades work really nicely together. So I think it's cool, like when Becky mentioned before about doing the different buttons, this could work as a nice trio. So see which one you fancy, or which two you fancy, or which 6 you fancy, and grab those whilst you can, because as I say, we've not got very many left. Now, we have been talking today about our builder blocks of the week, and what these are, essentially, I've got 3 different options for you. What these are dies that you can use with your fabric to create blocks that you can then use to build up your quilted designs, and some of these are magnificent. So let's have a look at your options, shall we? I have got for you the squares option, which you can see here in the bottom corner, varying in sizes for us today. We have got for you a selection in this one that goes down in size all the way up to the largest one that you can see, the size of the box there. So we're going from that 1/2 inch all the way upwards. So you've got the square opportunity. I've also got the half square triangles. The half square triangles, really nice shape on these ones, because it's if you like kind of that impact of using lots of different textures and designs together, this one looks really cool, very modern indeed. In fact, you've got one there, haven't you, in front of you?
Yeah, so I've got the square one, so you can see how that looks. That's really effective, isn't it? So you could make something like this. If you've never made a quilt before, you could make something like this in less than a day. You'd be able to put this together, because if you're using these builder blocks, you'll be able to cut out all of them in one go. You know they're all going to match as long as you keep to your 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you can create something like this just using plain fabric, just plain brightly coloured fabric, and it's really effective, isn't it? This kind of
absolutely
great for a child's bedroom, that kind of thing, those bright colours, I think.
Do you remember that kids book that has the elephant that looks like that on it?
Was
what
it
was
Elmer?
that called? Who?
Elmer?
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 Charlotte thinks it's Ellie the elephant. Nellie? Nah, not him who's packing his trunk.
It was all sort of multicoloured. I'm sure it's called Elmer.
Yeah, and it was a book, wasn't it? But that's just reminded me of. It's joyous, that, isn't it? So yes, we have also got for you so that one was the square collection. Elmer, apparently. It was Elmer. Congratulations.
Thanks.
No, you're welcome. We have got for you the 1/4 square triangles as well, which is there. So the 1/4 square triangles, the make on this one I saw earlier on, it is so, so, so cool. Can we have a nosy at this?
This one? Yeah. This one, yeah. So we've got quarter squares here, and we've also got half squares in this as well. So you can definitely mix and match with these expansion blocks as well. And obviously you saw earlier that I was using the quarter square triangles and also the squares to put them all together. But you know, that looks really effective using mostly white fabrics, just a few little scraps of pattern fabric, and they're all different. So again, great way of using up your scraps.
I think that just looks wonderful. Thank you for
it?
showing us that. Right, Johnny, quick question. How long do you think Ben's Can film took to film? It was about a day. Apparently, Ben mentioned on the last show that he did it in one take.
That's what I said. I said, did you do it in one take? And he said yes. But I think it was a day or 2 days, wasn't it? I think.
Was it?
Yeah. Was it like 6 weeks or something? It was a long time.
I'm going to find that 6 weeks. I want to know if Adam got that suit, the green suit, specifically for it, or if he just had it knocking around. Oh, it's Ben's suit as well. What, they're all in green? Wow. So Ben gave it to Adam so that he could help out.
Why has Ben got it?
I'm going to ask him in the break.
Is he gonna wear it with one of his waistcoats?
That would be a look, just like a floating waistcoat. That'd look great, wouldn't it? Becky, thank you so much for today. A pleasure as always. When are you in next and what have you got for us?
I'm in next week, and I'm in next week a lot, so I'm apologising in advance because I'm bringing you my own fabric next week as well. So yeah, I'll be here next Friday.
Fabulous. So we'll see you a fair bit on Friday then.
Yes.
Lovely jubbly. Okay, well, we have got the fabulous Craigle coming up with us in an hour. So set your alarm now if you fancy it, because we have got some wonderful knit wit products that have been so popular already. So seize the moment on those ones. I'm going to throw something at Becky and then we'll see you in an hour. Bye.